I'm getting updates from Mark Haynes about this Warriors game. We're coming to you live while the game is still going on in the fourth quarter. Apparently, Jonathan Kuminga got ejected. Is that what you saw? Because I try to watch as much as I can on my phone and on one of these hack websites, right? These illegal streams that everybody's still consuming. But you saw on the social media chatter that JK got ejected?
Yeah, I seen a play. He was driving to the basket, and it looked like about three or four defenders were around him, and he felt like he got smacked or whatever. And according, even the cameras didn't catch it, but the announcers was like, apparently he went up and approached the referee and accidentally bumped him, and it was an ejection or whatever. So people in the chat correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I seen on social media as we was getting on here.
And Sasha Jones in the chat saying that was like the second or third time the refs missed that call on him. I try to watch the first half again with one of these illegal streams because I went off on a whole rant the other night about how ridiculous, how bush league it is that NBC Sports Bay Area, and I think NBC Sports extends to SAC too. I think they're the primary. So and Sacramento Kings games. Are Kings fans in the state's capital having a similar gripe? Like, can they not watch games either unless they're league pass subscribers?
Yeah, I Bleav so because I've seen multiple fans like tweeting at myself and other reporters about how do I watch the game? Where do I
Yeah.
do it? And then when I'm looking at other people answers because I didn't have the answer or whatever, and I started looking at other guys and women and everything or whatever, and I was like, and their answers was kind of like shaky. It was like, oh, if you're subscribed to this or if you do this, and it seemed like a hassle. So we dealing with it in Sacramento too.
Dude. And again, the NBA, I just feel like there's just a failure of leadership in so many places in life. But in terms of what we're covering here, the NBA, horrible leadership to not give fans a chance to watch. I mean, it's the preseason. Why are you not making it free now? Are you
Hey,
not trying to grow the sport? Are you not worried about sagging ratings and sagging interest, at least here in the United States? I know globally the sport's doing fine, but you've got some competition here in the US of A. And I feel like Adam Silver just treats fans for granted, just thinks that the popularity of the NBA is not going anywhere no matter what. Dude, like people are fickle in terms of their interest in things, man. Like it doesn't take much for a fan base to immediately shift their attention to something else. Do not pretend what happened to baseball cannot happen to you. Baseball, look, I know baseball's popularity has come back a little bit thanks
right,
largely to the pitch clock.
right,
But look, man, TV ratings are not substantiating it. No one on social media chats about baseball's dead in terms of
right.
relevancy. I know kids are playing it in Little League and stuff like that, but TV ratings, discourse online, that is what you need for your sport and your brand to grow. And a sport like baseball, it's not happening there. No one's talking about it. It's become irrelevant. Do not pretend. I'm talking to Adam Silver here at this point. Do not pretend the NBA is immune to consumer dissatisfaction. This is wild, dude. And yeah, we're sitting here talking about basketball and more specifically games that we can't watch unless you find hacked streams or unless you spend $25 a month for NBA League Pass when you're already spending money on cable or your live streaming service. Like, what are you subscribing to, Mark, to watch local sports, like live programming? Like you have to subscribe to something for that.
So this far, I haven't changed anything yet. And I'm really, really curious to like how this season is going to go because you need a subscription literally for everything. It seemed like Monday nights you need it for NBC, Amazon, and I'm probably naming them completely wrong. Amazon Tuesday, ESPN Wednesday, and it's is so I have no idea yet, and I hope it works itself out because it'll be a shame if like this is the reason why numbers start to tank and the viewership goes down, and I Bleav it's going down already. But people are trying to watch these games. I do agree. I think these preseason games, at least, should be the easiest and most accessible games,
Yeah.
this season. Because I can only think and imagine that, once the season gets going, it's going to get a lot tougher.
Hell yeah, dude. And like the fact that our local sports affiliates or local sports networks, in this case being NBC Sports Bay Area, the fact that they can't afford to send a production team to broadcast road games, again, Bush League, dude. That is straight up Bush. And talk about mismanagement. I mean, you got people like I do not apologize for calling her out. Like Kareth Burke, for example, who works for NBC Sports Bay Area, making what 150, 200 grand a year to work 50 days. Like that money couldn't be better spent to send like a road crew out and broadcast these games for an audience. Like what is going on in terms of leadership in so many of these places where money's poorly spent, the wrong people are hired routinely. Like focus on the consumer, man. Focus on the people and help and try and do the right thing to grow your sport. It's embarrassing. It's utterly just shameful. And sorry to talk about this so much, but I'm just peeved, man. And I watched the first half of the Warriors game tonight. I will say this. The Warriors look good. I'm not worried about the Warriors at all. Like I actually even took some notes here for the first half. And then Mark will obviously talk about the Kings as well, because this is the I-80 crossover. But like Stephen Curry, for example, struggled at the start of this game. I didn't expect him to play the third quarter, but he did play the third. And more specifically, in the third quarter of this preseason game tonight in Portland, that's still going on. The Warriors currently have the lead. Stephen Curry played 10 minutes in the third quarter, put up 13 points, treating this game like it's important. Will Richard, I think, looks really good. He had a slow start to this game. Al Horford, compared to the first time the Warriors played the Trailblazers in the preseason, night and day in terms of how he looks out there. He looks better conditioned. He's not getting rebounds just grabbed from directly over his head like Klingon was doing last game. Steph had a slow start, 3 early turnovers, but and I see, and I think his game total for turnovers, Stephen Curry had 5 today, and Will Richard had 5 as well. But and then Brandon Pajemski, at least from the box score I'm looking at, very poor shooting night. And that's something I had in my notes too, in terms of just how he played in the first half. I noticed a lot of opportunities for Brandon Pajemski to put up points with very wide open looks. And Pajemski tonight, and this is where a part of his game that he has to improve. And what I mean by that more specifically, consistency with shooting. Brandon Pajemski tonight, 1 of 9 from the field. 1 of 9. That ain't good. That's like 15% shooting. And that one field goal was a 3-pointer. He's 1 of 6 from deep. Until that becomes consistent, Brandon Pajemski is going to have critics, plain and simple. I don't know how else you can spin that. And Jonathan Kuminga, I missed that ejection, but he's trying to be a facilitator, dude. He almost looks like Andre Iguodala out there. So that's my Warriors summary in a nutshell for how they did tonight. And I know the game is still going on in Portland. It's a final now. They won 118-111. The Warriors improved to 3-1 in the preseason. Before we play the Open, how are the Kings doing? We'll talk about Keegan Murray in a second, because I know for the Sac fan base, that is bad news. How are the Kings doing the preseason, though? Like, what's the record? How have they look to you?
Well, they're continuing their streak, a losing streak, that is, from that started last year, where they lost all 4 games in the preseason or whatever, and they're on 2 this year. So it's 6 straight preseason games, or 6 or 7, excuse me. But I think, usually the preseason is not really a big deal, but I think when you're a team like the Sacramento Kings, who are trying to create an identity, trying to figure out, what they're going to be, what's going to be their bread and butter, and then losing, Keegan Murray, I think getting a win even in preseason, I kind of playfully said on a podcast earlier this week that each game of the preseason is a must win for the Kings. And I don't think there's ever been a must win in preseason. But I think just figuring out a way to win one of these games, obviously they'll win some during the season or whatever, but to continue to just, show up, and that's literally what the Kings have been doing for the last, 7 preseason games. Just showing up, it's not enough. The fans deserve more, even though it doesn't count. And we'll see what they do tomorrow against the LA Clippers.
And that's who they play next, the Sacramento Kings. All right. Yeah. So and we shall see what happens with that. Well, let's play the open, and then I want to get your thoughts on Keegan Murray. Again, look, man, and I'm not saying this to bash Sacramento, but I picked the under in terms of their win total. When we did our OU shows the previous few weeks, we split that up into 2 episodes. I just don't see it with Sac, man, and that's just me, right? That's just my opinion. I don't feel like this is going to be their year, given how deep the West is, given the fact that they're arguably two of their most important players. Were teammates on the Chicago Bulls, and that team couldn't do shit in the East. And I just don't understand what the thinking was to bring those two together to the West and just magically expect something different. Again, that's my 2 cents on the Kings, and I could be very wrong on that. But the Keegan Murray injury, that is brutal for them. And Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Warriors. We're going to talk about the NBA GM survey. It's the I-80 crossover. Bleav In Kings joins Golden Daze. You and I did not plan on dressing like this.
Yeah,
this is just great minds thinking alike. Why are you wearing yellow, though? My excuse is this is a Warriors shirt. What's your excuse for wearing Warriors colors?
I just got through washing clothes, and this is the first thing on top of everything, and I grabbed it, and I was ready.
I love it. We match. I love that. And let's get into it. Welcome to the I-80 crossover. It's Bleav In Kings. It's Golden Daze, brought to you by FanDuel, the official sportsbook of the Bleav Network and Golden Daze. And I'm doing my best, brother, to hopefully make them a sponsor of Bleav In Kings in the near future. Mark, how can people follow you on social media and promote away on everything you got going, man?
They can follow me at Mark Haynes NBA pretty much everywhere, any social media platform. You can find Bleav In Kings Pod on YouTube at The Closer Sports. That's the handle for that. Apple Podcasts, Bleav In Kings, anywhere you can find podcasts, but everything else at Mark Haynes NBA. You can find this handsome face and untrimmed beard.
Hell yeah, dude. Your beard's way cleaner than mine, dude. I look like a hobo right now. I get it. I'll clean it up very soon. This is just a stoner doing stoner things.
It's the preseason grind, man. That's all it is. Preseason grind.
I never got into this to be on camera. This is just the evolution of media. I was always a writer and a radio guy. I liked anonymity. I like just relying on the work itself. But nowadays, you got to be on camera. So forgive me again. I know I look sometimes like I belong in the streets and not in a home. Here we are.
You are not alone, brother. You are not alone. Hey, real quick, it's completely off topic, but how, like you said, you talked about that evolution of like having to be on camera, and I went through that too. I'm not a in your face camera. I'm a friendly person, but I'm not just the most bubbly talkative and everything. But we kind of got forced into it and had to start showing our personality. How was that transition for you?
I just did it. Again, it's not what I wanted to do. Because I feel like, first of all, I don't know what your experience is with TV people, but there's a lot of ego that goes with those folks on TV, and that was never my jam, man. I loved radio because to me it requires talent to succeed in it. It's hard to be a phony when you have to do talk radio. Not like the radio DJs that go, coming up next, we got some Miley Cyrus with the latest hits. Not some corny DJ thing like that. Like talk radio where you have to actually fill hours of airtime. And I love the imagery that broadcasters had to produce in the listener's mind to accompany all the stories, right? Like you have to be a good storyteller. You have to be informative. It's very hard to fake it. And I love the radio. I grew up on the sports side. I don't know if in Fresno, if you got KNBR out there, but there was this morning show called Frank and Mike, just two corny old dudes, but my mom loved it. And so she'd listen to it in the car, dropping me off at school. And so I got into it. And then I started listening to Howard Stern, and I was like, what the hell is this? and for you younger folks who never got a chance to experience Howard Stern on the radio, dude, he was just, making waves everywhere. I mean, a lot of his act was a shock type of thing where it was just so outlandish and so extreme that people couldn't resist like seeing what's next and so forth. But he was also a comic genius, still is, I think. And anyway, so between those two, and then I started getting into sports talk radio as I got more into sports. I knew radio was my jam, man. That's what I really wanted to get into. But I also loved writing, and I got into that. And I just never thought we'd be on a camera, dude. And
Right.
the transition, whatever. It's like I didn't expect us to do this, but it's all everyone's consuming now, man. It's the on camera stuff. So here we are. And anyways, and Julian Bashir in the chat bringing up Howard Stern Private Parts, very funny movie. But and Julian Bashir is saying he's a very sick person and a hypocrite nowadays. Yeah, I'm not going to say I don't know Howard enough nowadays to comment on him. How was your transition to getting on the screen?
Yeah, well, it was like right at the beginning for me. So at the beginning, it was like, actually, that was the first thing I did with my brother Chris on the Posted Up, with Chris podcast, and it was interesting. I mean, I had him to like kind of lead me through it or whatnot, and just like now, like once you get to talking and you get into it, you really forget the cameras. You forget everything, and it's just now it's just two guys talking or whatever the case may be, and that like you forget about your flaws, you forget about your haircut not being crisp and your beard being wild, you forget about all that, and it's just all about sports at that point.
Absolutely right, man. And here we are again. Mark Haynes, you can follow him on all social media platforms, at least most of them at Mark Haynes NBA. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild, on Twitter at Surf Journalist. And the programs on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. And we're coming to you just moments after the Warriors took care of business in Portland. The final score in that game, I have it here, 118-111, the final. I got a chance again to watch the first half of it. I did not expect Stephen Curry to play the third quarter. I would have tried to watch more. But again, I'm also watching like on my phone and the stream and the every like 5 minutes, like my stream gets interrupted by ads, and sometimes I have to switch to another host. It's that kind of game with the hack streams to make it work when you're not paying for it. But that's how I rolled. But just to finish up what I was talking about earlier in terms of what I witnessed in that first half, Will Richard had a slow start, but for a rookie, he looks great. I think that was a solid draft pick for Golden State. To pick up the kid from Florida, part of the national champs. Good pedigree there. He finished the game tonight, 13 points, 3 of 5 shooting from deep. He's got a very nice stroke, and added 6 rebounds and 2 assists. But again, JK looks ready. Like every one of his detractors, we're already hearing them silenced because, again, all of their critique is just bullshit. Everyone hating on him clearly just does not understand basketball at a fundamental level. Like every pro I ever talked to, former pro, folks who played like high levels of college ball, at a bare minimum, folks who were just involved in organized basketball their whole life, it was like a unanimous consensus. Potential is there. He just has to play, right? Yeah. And then you have a lot of casual fans who don't pay attention often. A lot of them maybe started to come around when the Warriors dynasty emerged, and they're listening to local media who just are basically Steve Kerr sycophants. And so you have this huge section of the fan base just hating on this kid. I mean, he was literally getting death threats. I don't know if you saw that on social media. And JK saw it and replied to it. Let me see if I can find that. Actually, I have it here somewhere, but the vitriol was nasty, and I'm actually relieved that the folks behind the vitriol in the media scene are starting to get called out for that more and more because it was just illogical. It was just it was indecent, and it was just wrong, man. If these folks had any accuracy behind their opinions, if their opinions were educated, maybe I could respect a little bit. But like every critique was like, oh, dude, he's not good enough defensively. Side note, what I'm seeing from him, this year defensively, he is staying in front of every player he's assigned to defend, dude. And that is like defense 101 in the NBA and in basketball in general is staying in front of your man, force that player to either put up a tough shot or pass it. And Kuminga is doing that job. The footwork is there. He's physical. He's fast. And now he's playing to make Steve Kerr happy, whereas that might not have been always the case in the last 2-3 years, largely because of the usage, because he knows his potential, but his coach kept playing guys like Anthony Lamb over him, like JaMychal Green over him. So he, at a certain point, playing for a new contract, playing for his life, would sometimes just go off script. And side note, when he would go off script, good things were happening. So it was adding to the madness of all this. Anyways, the whole point of that whole rant there is Jonathan Kuminga looks damn good. And he's trying to play the role that Steve Kerr wants from him. And you're seeing all these numbers that represent a more well-rounded, complete player. Kuminga tonight, again, he got ejected in this game. He played 17 minutes, 59 seconds. I missed the ejection. But in those 17 minutes, 59 seconds, besides great defense that I witnessed, 7 points from him, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And it's the rebounds, even though he had no boards last game, but with the exception of the Lakers game, the rebounding has been exceptional. But the passing game from him, he's trying to be a playmaker. And that's going to make every one of the Warriors happy, man. Like, he's not just looking for buckets, even though he can get those points easily, but he's trying to get others involved. And he's looking almost like a little bit like Iguodala out there, which the Warriors desperately need. So 7 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds again on the night for Jonathan Kuminga in a game where he got ejected. But folks, I'm telling you, he looks ready to embrace whatever role Steve Kerr wants him to take on. I'm happy with him, man. I don't know how much you've seen of him so far this preseason. Any thoughts on JK?
I know the one thing I did see that I'm sure that the whole world seen was that that poster the other day. That was ridiculous. But I'm not surprised with JK. I always thought he was like, and I don't think the Warriors are either. They picked him at the number 7 pick for a reason. Like, you don't pick a guy at 7 just because you think he could be a role player. That's a high enough pick to where it's like, no, we think this kid might be something. And then getting him he was 19 years old or whatever at that time or whatever, with a grown man body, like he freaky athleticism. And, so now I think it's more of, it was a weird situation for sure. It was a situation where he's drafted into a championship team and a team where, other guys, and I know rookies from his class who would have liked to been a Golden State Warrior at that time. And then when they seen how Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody were treated, and it's not treated in like a negative way. You got drafted to a team with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Like, there's no taking their spots. There's no moving them out the way for a rookie, for a 19-year-old rookie. They spent time. Spent time in the G League, up and down or whatever that rookie year or whatever. But it never meant that they weren't good. It never meant that they weren't going to be a star, especially when speaking about Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga is one of those guys, especially out of that class. He's one of the best players in that draft class, whether he's on the court playing, 28, 30 minutes a night or 10 minutes. It just depends on what's going on, what's the situation, who's his coach, things of that nature. But I'm not surprised that Jonathan Kuminga is looking the way he is.
Yeah, I expect great things from him this year. Degenerate Dad in the chat asking, are Kings fans pissed that Kuminga is basically the whole talking point of maybe the Kings committing a sign and trade to get him from the Warriors? I know Malik Monk's name was thrown out there, Devin Carter's name, and I think those are the only 2 really substantial names. Oh, and of course Dario Saric. Is Saric playing, by the way, at all in the preseason?
He played in Portland. I think he played in Portland. I think he scored like 14 points or something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Dario Saric comeback here. Bring it.
Yeah. He's doing this just for you, Cyrus. He heard what you said.
But are you hearing any disgruntled Kings fans because Jonathan Kuminga, at least for this season, outside of a shocking trade, is not going to Sac. Do fans there care?
So one, I feel like, and this is just my opinion. I don't look at the feed as often as I probably should, but from my perspective, once he re-signed or signed the extension or whatever, I didn't see many people like pissed about it. But after this Keegan Murray injury, I'm sure people are thinking back like, damn, we should if we would have did that. If we would have did that, at least we had some, like, we could cover if it's a Malik Monk or whatever, whatnot. We got a ton of guards that we can try to fill Malik's shoes with. But Keegan Murray being injured, and that's what's interesting because he was my X factor for the Kings this year. With Keegan Murray going down and being out at least a month, at least a minimum of a month, and I think it's like 10 to like 16 games or whatever, that is the one spot on the roster that can't be it can't be replaced or helped.
So you don't have good depth where in the position Keegan Murray plays, is what you're saying?
No, because when you think about it, in the last,
Ooh.
you think about the last 3 years since Keegan Murray has been in the NBA, since he's been a rookie. Keegan Murray, to me, or I'll ask you, is Keegan Murray a power forward to you?
Depends on the coach, right?
You know?
I never would have thought of him as a 4 until like maybe the last year or so, and now I
Right.
kind of see him as 1, but it again just depends, right? Do you see him as a 4?
I don't see him naturally as a 4.
Same,
I see him as a 3 who can play the 4.
just
And
like
I
Kuminga.
think just like Kuminga, you
Yeah,
move it back to before Keegan, it was Harrison Barnes who was in that spot or
yes,
whatever.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
I feel like this was a spot on the Kings roster for years that kind of, they've gotten lucky. Keegan has been very durable. Harrison Barnes was durable, and now you're hurt there. Although the focus was the point guard position, which was very much needed. They played basically the second half of the season without a true point guard. So going to get Dennis Schroeder and trying to get Russell Westbrook and things like that, I understand it because you can't fix everything in one night. It's gonna take some time or whatever. So they felt like the point guard position was the most necessary to get because they didn't have anything there. But Keegan Murray, he was like that Iron Man guy that played the 4, and now he's out the picture for a few weeks. And now you're looking at being either undersized and going with a rookie and Neat Clifford at the power, or not power forward, or moving DeMar up to power forward, he's not a 4. Or you're looking at Dario Sarge, or you're looking at maybe moving. I've heard people talking about moving Sabonis to the 4 and bringing in the rookie Maxime Reynard at center,
That's what I would
or
do. That's what I would
Drew
do.
Eubanks,
Yeah.
and so there's this, and I'm not a fan of that move, but you might have to. I
Well,
don't know.
what are you a fan of? Like if you were the coach, like what is the move that you think they should do?
I think you have to try it. I think you have to try it out. But what I would say is, Doug Christie did a great job of, or a funny job at that, or whatever, of not telling the media what he was planning on doing, who's going to start, who's going, what they worked on in practice, even though obviously we know the guys that fit the criteria, that fits in those spots or whatever. But if I'm the coach, if I'm running the Kings, I'm not telling y'all crap. And I'm also, if I like tomorrow night, I may start. Let's say I start the rookie. I say I start Maxime at the 5 and Sabonis at the 4. I would throw that lineup out there, knowing game 1 of the regular season, I'm actually going to go small. Malik Monk might start or whatever, whatnot. I would throw out a bunch of things because the only hope I think the Kings have for this season, and I think it's it is in order to get to where they want to get by the end of the year, without Keegan Murray is you got to hit people with surprises. And I think you got to hold everything in your bag, keep everything locked up tight until game one. And if you could sneak a few wins out through that first 10 to 16 games, you got to get on top quick. But if you start in the hole, it's going to be a long season.
Oh my God! And again, multiple people who cover basketball prospects, whether it's college, high school, internationally, it seems to be a consensus that the draft next year is going to be deep, one of the deepest in recent history, comparable to 2021, the draft where Kuminga was picked 7th. Who did the Kings draft? Oh, there was Davion Mitchell. Regrets? Is that in hindsight, is that a regretful pick? Like, because at the time I thought that I thought he was going to be something. He still might be. He's in Miami now, but and the Creed 2010. Well, I'm going to get to your other chat post in a second because you wrote a few interesting things. But it was in hindsight, Davion Mitchell. Is there a lot of regret there?
Regret. I think regret not in the way where it has anything to do with him. I think Davion Mitchell is a good. I think he was put in a position where, like for instance, the Kings just came off of drafting a year prior. They took Tyrese Halliburton when they had De'Aaron Fox already. So you continue to draft point guard after point guard after point guard, and it was like, why? So I think in that sense, it was who knows what Monty McNair felt, because that's the guy that did the draft pick or whatever. Who knows how he felt or whatever. But I think when I look at it hindsight or whatever, I'm looking at the guys that you could have had in place of Davion, who just fits the team a lot better. Davion didn't really get the proper shot here in Sacramento as a ninth pick, which he wouldn't have got with a young De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron was maybe 20, 22, 23 at the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you already, and it was kind of like mixed signals, because like, is this your franchise guy? And we're drafting point guard after point guard, and so I think in that sense, there has to be some regret there. But in the sense of, we regret it because it's Davion Mitchell or whatever, I think he just was in a tough situation.
Yeah, and now he's in Miami, and again, I'm not following that situation closely, but he seems happier. I mean, I don't think the weather in Miami hurts, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about here on the program tonight. Real quickly here, just to wrap up the Warriors talk in terms of some of the notes I had written down. Again, I thought JK played fantastic, and we're going to hear from Steve Kerr in just a second here. Anthony Slater posted a clip from his post-game press conference. One thing, though, that does bother me in terms of, and I'm looking at the box score and I'm getting confirmation here. The Portland Trailblazers are a large team, and one consistent grievance I have with Steve Kerr is not playing bigger lineups to match up with opposing lineups that bring a lot of size to the equation. And Portland tonight is no exception to that. Donovan Clingan especially is a big mofo out there. And routinely Kerr will match lineups like that with much smaller players, thinking speed can beat size. And I'm looking ahead to like the Spurs. Like, I don't know how the hell the Warriors going to match up with Wemby. Like, I mean, Wemby's grabbing offensive rebounds off missed free throws. Think about that for a second. Okay, like if you're grabbing offensive rebounds off a missed free throw, that means you're the second player out. Like, you're getting boxed out. You're not in an advantageous position to begin with. And Wemby's just grabbing balls over other people. And this one highlight I saw, I don't think he even jumped. He just grabbed it and just threw it in. His listed playing height this season is 7'5", which means he could be 7'6", 7'7". Who knows? That's just the official listed height. And again, the NBA is weird throughout its history, where you have smaller players always lying about their height. Usually they're an inch or two shorter than what's listed, even though the NBA is now using supposedly like the official measurements to prevent this kind of rigging of height measurements. But again, smaller players usually will add an inch or two, but then bigger players will deduct an inch or two. Like players like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, infamously known for shaving off an inch or two off their height. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's like an insecurity thing where they feel like they're freakish because of how large they are. I have no idea. Like Kevin Durant's another one. Like I don't think his listed height of 6'10", 6'11", way too many people are out there saying he's closer to 7 feet, 7'1". It's crazy. And so Wemby's, fits that stereotype of someone who maybe is taller than what we think we know.
Right.
Point is, the Portland Trailblazers had a large lineup tonight, and I kept expecting there are two players on the Warriors that I feel like are not getting much of a run in this preseason, and I don't understand why. I hope it does not have anything to do with how Steve Kerr feels about him, and it has more to do with Kerr just experimenting. But two players particularly who either barely got a run tonight or didn't get a run at all. One of those was Trayce Jackson-Davis, who actually played great basketball in LA the last preseason game. And tonight, I'm looking at the box score, and he played, I think, 39 seconds in the first half. And again, that's the half that I watched the entirety of. And side note, in case you missed the game, Jonathan Kuminga got ejected. So for folks wondering about his minute total, and I think this clip we're going to play in just a second, we'll piggyback off that some more and give us some more detail from Steve Kerr. But I didn't like the fact that Trayce Jackson-Davis only got a run in the second half. He could have been helping out there, and he's not an old player. Like, he could use some run and use some more experience. And then the other one is Guy Santos. Guy Santos DNP tonight. Like, unless I'm missing like an injury that I don't know about, like, I don't understand why Guy Santos is not getting any run. I mean, this dude is 6'6". He plays larger than his actual size. He can handle the ball like a point guard. I think he literally played point guard on the Brazilian national team that was in the Olympics last year, and he got a DNP tonight. And I feel like Guy Santos can legitimately play basketball, and I don't understand that. But nonetheless, that's a gripe from tonight's game. And again, a game that was not televised locally. You had to have NBA League Pass to watch it. Mark, are you down to listen to Steve Kerr talk about tonight's game?
Let's do it. And
this is courtesy, again, of Anthony Slater. Turn the volume up on your devices because Slater is posting this with audio from his cell phone. So keep in mind that it's going to be low. So please turn the volume up for the duration of Kerr talking. And here's Steve Kerr. I don't know what the context of this is, but these are his comments after tonight's 118-111 victory by the Golden State Warriors in Portland to improve to 3-1 in the preseason.
He got fouled. It was a frustration play. I have no problem with it. I mean, he deserved the foul. He was getting fouled quite a bit. It was a physical game. And the way he ran on that play, the activity that he played with, the rebounding, he had 6 boards, in one half, 17 minutes. That's the JK who can really help our team. And I love the way he played. I love the fire, the passion. I don't mind the ejection at all. I kind of liked it, actually. So I thought JK was terrific tonight.
Were you surprised they won technical tossed him?
No, because after they called, was it one? He called 2. And
well, you only shot 1 free throw.
It was one. You can eject someone with 1.
Yeah, I know you can.
He had 1.
I wasn't surprised he got ejected because he kind of got right in Rodney's face, and you can't do that. They're gonna eject you if you do that. But like I said, I like the fire. I like the energy that he played with, the emotion. I think JK is having an excellent camp, and I'm excited about how he looks.
Steph with 28 points.
All right, so and undoubtedly that was all about JK and Steve Kerr explaining the suspension. Kerr also praising his young forward, and again, I agree. I think Kuminga has had a phenomenal camp. Insane that it was just 2 weeks ago that we were still talking about the holdout. We were talking about him maybe being signed and traded to the Sacramento Kings. And going back to Keegan Murray, talking about these two young players here in Northern California. So it was a torn ligament in his shooting thumb. Is that correct? That he had surgery on?
In his left thumb. He's left-handed.
Okay.
But he shoots right.
Gotcha.
Or whatever. So yeah, what is it, UCL or whatever in his left thumb, which he had surgery yesterday morning, which was successful. And I was listening to Carmichael Dave, a radio guy here, and he was like, has there ever been, and I couldn't think of any or whatever. He was like, has there ever been a report that said, oh, he underwent surgery today and it was unsuccessful. Something went wrong. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I think I've never heard of that. I was like, that's a really good one. But yeah, he had successful surgery. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. And obviously the Kings hope he'll be back closer to the 4, but I think probably it's going to end up somewhere around the middle. But it also said, let me rephrase that. It doesn't say he's out 4 to 6 weeks. It says he'll be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. So
which means a lot, because it means a lot. It could mean a lot of different things, right? He could be back. Like they could reevaluate him and be like, "Wow, it looks great. We'll see you in a week." It could also mean we'll reevaluate in 3 weeks from now. Oh my God! So
yeah.
This could be a long year for Sac. Oh boy. Is there any trade speculation? Like, is there any chatter in the Sacramento market in terms of whispers about the Kings, like talking to other teams, and or is the mindset there? This is our team. We're rolling with it.
So far, that's what it seems like. Like it seems like they're just gonna roll with the punches or whatever. But at the same time, Scott Perry has like made it clear that they're being aggressive and they're looking and. But I think what's interesting in this situation is Keegan Murray is still waiting on that extension, which I believe the due date is the 20th if I'm not mistaken. And it's kind of a unfortunate time for him to be hurt or whatever. I don't know if between now and the 20th, anything changes or whatever, or offer gets bigger or less or whatever, whatnot. But you definitely want to be healthy during this time. So I think the Kings have some decisions to make, and they, like you said, they have to figure out, like, is this a team that we're trying to, like, what are we trying to do with this team? Is making the playoffs and being eliminated in the first round, is that good enough? Is that a successful year? Making the play in or whatever, like, what is the realistic goal? Because it can't be competing for a championship. That's not what they're doing this year or whatever, but they have to figure out what the goal is, what the plan is moving forward. And I think with seeing how they treat, how they deal with this Keegan Murray situation, if he's, I don't see him, when they say 4 to 6 weeks, I don't see him coming back and forth at all, because it makes no sense. Only way you're doing that is if you're really playing for something. And I don't think they would risk further injury for that. So I think they're going to be patient with him. So I think it's going to get closer to that 6-week mark, and I think that's also going to tell us where their mindset is with this team and what they're trying to do. Are they looking to the future? Are they trying to build around Zach LaVine or whatever? Like, I think we're going to learn a lot with this Keegan Murray injury.
You see what I'm doing here? Can you tell what I'm doing?
Is you steering the ship?
I'm driving a tank.
There you go. I knew you drive. I knew you rolling.
They need a tank. I would say that's what they got to do. In the chat here, Boots the TJ, asking, help us understand. Kuminga played 17 minutes at 7.6 rebounds, 4 assists. Excuse me, shot 60% from the field, made all his free throws, did have 2 turnovers, committed 2 fouls, was a +1 in net rating. Pajemski plays 25 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 11% field goal percentage. Yeah, he was 1 of 9 from the field. Only hit 1 of 2 free throws. Is that right? For 50%? Let me confirm that. 2 free throw attempts, made 1 of them. 2 turnovers as well. Yeah, when Pajemski's turning the ball over, I feel like that's when sirens are blaring and there are alarms going off, because normally Pajemski's not known for turning the ball over. I think it's just the turnover ratio is one of his strengths. Also committed 3 fouls. And again, the dude is a plus-minus king. Even on nights like this, where his stats are awful, typically the Warriors play winning basketball, and he was a +10 in net rating tonight. Yeah, that's confirmed. Stephen Curry was second on the team in net rating with a +13. Quentin Post leading the way with a +16. And that's also one of many reasons why net rating is a very subjective stat. When we're talking about just an individual game, it's so much of it is based on who the other 4 people are around you. And also, again, Kuminga did not play the third quarter. Pajemski did, along with Stephen Curry, and the Golden State Warriors outscored Portland in that third quarter, 35-26. So that's primarily where the net rating discrepancy comes into play. So, in case people are wondering, and the real Leezy, great to see you, saying that Pajemski can't defend, and yeah, that to me is one of the more legitimate complaints about Brandon Pajemski. His foot speed is average. It doesn't blow people away, like, you know. So he needs to be particularly fundamental in that regard to be effective. Bobby Darris in the chat saying that the Warriors need to get Ben Simmons and make him shoot with his right hand. Yeah, I wouldn't count on that. But Sacramento, on the other hand, I mean, Russell Westbrook was linked to you guys a month or so ago. I haven't heard much chatter about that lately. Ben Simmons is out there, man.
Why not? That's why I say with Ben Simmons. I say, why not? He's a guy that could defend. He's a guy that could facilitate. He's a guy that's not looking to shoot the ball, but he's a guy that can help in different ways. Like, he was, when he was at his best, he was an elite, defender or whatever. He's a 6'10" guy who can play the point guard position, but he obviously wouldn't be the point guard in this situation. But to say, hey, we can give you a deal and you could be our 4, and you could come in and start, here in Sacramento. I think it makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, there's a whole, ton of things that, you don't like about Ben Simmons or whatever, his availability, the fact that he will not shoot the ball, which, pairing him with Domantas Sabonis, that can make it even worse, a worse situation. But if I'm the GM, and we're going to talk about some GMs and stuff, not GMs per se, but their thoughts or whatever and voting systems. But if I'm a GM, and with this roster, I'm like, you know what? We have to try some things. If we want to win, if we want to compete, we have to try some things. And, why not try Ben Simmons if we could get him, for, a vet minimum or whatnot, and just see what happens. End of the day, you could bench him. You could do whatever you want with him. But what if it works? What if Ben Simmons turns back into Ben Simmons in his second year of Philadelphia?
I mean, that's best case scenario, I think, without question.
Obviously, I'm being very, very optimistic. That's all we got here in Sacramento right now is optimism. Like, that's what you got to be. So, Beam team, there's some situations where, best case scenario could happen. It could work, but it's definitely, it's been raining all day. It's covered up some Sacramento Kings fans' tears, I'm sure.
Oof.
But it's been perfect weather and perfect timing for these moments here in Sacramento.
I still think Ben Simmons has value if, and it's a huge if you play him as your center, kind of like what the Clippers are doing last year. Like if he is your center, where he's basically a point center, so meaning defensively, he's defending the opposing team's 5. He's playing out of the post after he brings the ball up, because the moment he crosses half court, and this is where psychologically he's so messed up. Like the moment he crosses the midcourt line, he will get rid of that ball, and he does not want the ball unless he's right next to the rim where he can dunk it or just put up an easy a floater or layup. But if you use him like that, I think he still has a role in the NBA. But the fact that, again, I don't know who you blame, man. Is it Doc Rivers' fault? Is it his own fault? But that postseason series where like he was deathly afraid of even shooting free throws, man. That's craziness, dude. And
No, that's scary, man. Like because he was so good, you know, and
he was.
I can partially relate to this in a sense that even though the trophy is at my parents' house or whatever, but me and my brother Chris, we play. It's a park in our hometown, Fresno. If you're from Fresno, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a place called Frank H. Ball, and every year they would have this like adult summer league or whatever. And I played it. I was a football player or whatever. But I was an athlete, so I
what
played
position
it.
in football?
In football, I played fullback and linebacker.
Hell yeah,
But
dude. Hell yeah. All right.
but yeah,
Contact, dude.
yeah. I was a
You like to
bruiser,
hit
man.
people, dude.
Yeah, I was a beast. I have fun, man. Y'all
Love
looked me up. Yeah, I was somebody. But I played in the summer league once or whatever, and I was like the Lou Dort of the team. But meanwhile, Chris was putting together the team. And he was like, "Yeah, we gonna be shorthanded. I'm gonna need you to score." So all summer, I'm working on my offensive game, and I got into a really, really good rhythm. I started, I was bringing the ball up more. I'm taking over games and pickup. And then once we got into the actual season or whatever, if we call it the league play or whatever, whatnot, we ended up getting recruits. We started recruiting because we talking trash. We getting serious or whatever. And we was like, no, we're not just gonna be out here losing. So Aaron, my cousin Aaron Haynes, who played overseas, he said he'll be in town and he actually lives in Sac, but he was like he'll drive down every weekend and play. And he's a 6'8" wing or whatever. And then a guy named Jamil York, who was he was fresh out of high school, but he was the Valley State player or Valley Player of the Year. Greg Smith, he played on that team, and he played with the Houston Rockets. I think he might have been playing for the Rockets at that time. He is a center. So now all of a sudden, I went from my mindset is I'm gonna be taking a bunch of shots to I can't shoot. I got all these guys that play college ball and professional and stuff or whatever, and I was like, so now my job is to just play defense. But every game, I would get that wide open Ben Simmons shot. And it was horrible. And I just came off having the best summer of shooting in my life. But I shot an air ball so bad that year that somebody said that it looked like, when you throw like a wiffle ball and it just kind of go all over the place. They said that's how my jump shot looked. And
Like
my confidence was so bad and gone, because I had all them stars. But Ben Simmons didn't have that. He was the star. So I don't necessarily understand it, but I do know what he feels. So I do have a little sensitivity towards Ben Simmons.
Oh my God, the yips, man! Isn't that what they call it when you just lose a skill set you've had like your whole life? And it's weird. Like people in the chat bring up Markelle Fultz, another player who top 3 pick. I think Fultz was number 1. I think Simmons was 3rd. Was he a number 1 pick too?
Yeah, they're both number 1.
They're both number 1. So, oh my God. And they both are in Philly when they lose their shot.
You know what? Maybe that's why they're not going to bring him here. Because, Markelle Fultz was here in Sacramento last year. So maybe they said we tried this once. Let's not do this again.
Yeah.
Philadelphia number 1 picks.
I want to bring up real fast, Kev F in the chat, Golden Dazer. Thanks to you and everyone else for your support. Bringing up LJ Cryer. And this is a player who has come out of nowhere, unless you watch college basketball. Undrafted rookie. He played in the summer league, and he has made an impression. this preseason. He almost single-handedly was the reason why the Warriors came back and won their second preseason game. He only played the fourth quarter in that second game. Preseason game number 3 in LA, he's held to just the fourth quarter again. And in those fourth quarter minutes last game, still scored 11 points in 10 minutes of play, added 2 assists, was 3 of 5 shooting from deep. And his box score tonight, I didn't see him in the first half, and it looks like he only played in the fourth quarter. I can actually confirm that real fast. But the stats are not as good for Cryer tonight, but they won, so and that's all that matters. So LJ Cryer in tonight's game, let me see if he played in the third quarter at all. He did not. So he was so for the third straight game, he only played the fourth quarter. And tonight in 8 minutes 34 seconds, 0 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, but a +4 in that rating, and they won the game. So, and that's all that matters. So, point is, LJ Cryer is someone I'm keeping an eye on. I would like to see him get more of an opportunity against the first string units and the second stringers, meaning it would be nice if he got a run in the game sooner instead of being held out until the fourth quarter. But he is, again, making a great impression on the fan base, on the team. I'm very intrigued to see him play in Santa Cruz this year. Have you had a chance to monitor LJ Cryer? Is he familiar to you from playing in Houston last season in college? And is there anyone in Sacramento who's maybe under the radar playing some damn good basketball?
I'm not familiar with LJ. I'm gonna have to now that he's on my radar, I'm gonna have to check him out so I can.
Yeah, he's playing good, man. Yeah, I like the kid.
But no, only person I have to say is Nick Clifford, the rookie that the Kings took at 24. A lot of people, some people are aware of him. Some people aren't. But I think with all rookies, you just got to figure out your place in the league, figure out your place on the team. But whenever he's out there or whatever, he looks comfortable to an extent, and when he gets comfortable, it usually happens with the second unit of guys where he knows he's the man, and that's when he kind of shines or whatever. And I think in the first game, I think he had like 11 points and 9 assists or something like that or whatnot. But he's a guy that can do a lot of things. He's a guy that, he's not a young rookie. I think he's 22. So he's a guy that understands basketball, understands how to play basketball. Now, I think that's going to be kind of his rookie Achilles heel, is when you know how to play basketball and you're playing next to Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. It's hard for you to step on their toes and say, I'm going to do this or whatever. You kind of just blend. So whenever he's out there with them, I notice he's just blending and not making any mistakes. But like DeMar DeRozan said in practice the other day, he was like, or actually I take that back. Nick said the veterans are telling him you have to make those mistakes. Just keep making them. Keep trying to correct it. Don't lose your confidence. Don't feel like you have to take a back seat. Just do you, and things will come naturally. And I think he's a guy that, I expected him to play this year. Now with this Keegan Murray injury, I think he's really going to get a legit shot. And, I don't know if the Kings are going to use the Steve Kerr method and go small, or, I don't know what they plan on doing, but I know Nick Clifford will play. And I think as the year goes, I don't think right away, you're going to be able to see it. But I think as the year goes on, I think you're going to start to see it. This kid is a pretty good ball player and could be good depending on, how much work he put in, how, dedicated to his craft and the opportunities that he get.
Yeah, Kev F in our chat, a longtime Golden Dazer. Appreciate yours and everyone else's support as always. Saying Keon Ellis needs to start, and that does make the most sense. I'm going to take a look here at the Kings roster because I'm now curious myself, like who's gonna take that role, like who's gonna replace Keegan Murray on the depth chart here. And it looks like, I mean, look, did Keon start the last game?
No.
Who started
It was the regulars. No, so this would be the first game without Keegan.
Oh, so tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll see what lineup is thrown out there. So we haven't seen it yet.
I'm gonna guess that the Kings are gonna go small ball. Like that would be my prediction is Keon Ellis will be slid in there, and then DeMar DeRozan will probably be forced to be your small ball 4, even though like traditionally he's a 2. But welcome to the modern NBA. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Like in terms of the starting 5, is it going to be Keon Ellis? Is it going to be someone else? Your thoughts?
I can see it being Keon. I can see. I think they're going to take the approach that I'm saying, that whatever you see tomorrow probably won't be the starting lineup on opening night. I think the starting lineup opening night will be I think it'll be a lineup that we see at some point during the preseason, but I feel like they're not going to use them as starters. So if Keon Ellis starts tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised, but that would just mean, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that would mean opening night Keon Ellis isn't starting. It's going to be another
makes sense
guy. Yeah, depends, but Keon makes a lot of sense, but I think Keon is just one of those guys that he's so, multi-purpose. Like he's, undersized. He's not really a point guard, but he can do this. He could defend. He could shoot. He's just a guy that could really play basketball, and that's why it makes a lot of sense, to have him in the starting lineup. But at the same time, if you bring him off the bench to, let's say your starting lineup was a mistake, Keon is a guy that could save you. He could slow the bleeding a little bit or whatnot. So that would be, if I'm the coach, that would be the reason why I would keep Keon on the bench, but it has nothing to do with him not being the right guy for the job. It's just I would use preseason to try to figure out how can I keep Keon in this role to where he's the guy that comes and saves everything and keeps everything flowing.
Yeah, we shall see. And the Kings again play tomorrow. The Warriors finish up their preseason Friday. They're back home. They're going to host the LA Clippers. That game will be televised, thankfully, and we'll be live right after that game. Side note, Jonathan Kuminga's agent, Aaron Turner, will be on the program, I think, Thursday. It's not confirmed yet. And then soon after that, Jonathan Kuminga will be on the show. I'm really excited about that. Just to get a lot of inside information in terms of that wild and crazy off season. And when we come back, I want to ask you, Mark, because to me, if the Warriors do trade Jonathan Kuminga, there's only 2 players out there that Joe Lacob would trade him for. Maybe 3, but something tells me Kevin Durant will not be on the market. Durant is Lacob's white whale, and we all have read the story. We've covered this ad nauseum on the show, how last year a trade was almost completed where the Warriors were going to reacquire Kevin Durant. Jonathan Kuminga was going to be traded to the Suns, and then Durant himself was like, no, can we not do that? And he quashed the deal. But there are 2 players out there that realistically the Warriors would trade JK for. One of those is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the other one is LeBron James. And I have a question for you because he's your guy, and when I say that, I mean like you follow him closely, and you followed him his entire career. So I'd love to get your insights on whether or not that sciatic nerve injury is in fact an injury. I don't know if you saw this on social media. Skip Bayless posted a 20-minute clip on Twitter. I don't know if it was just Twitter, but it was 20 minutes of him. And again, like when he records, like the camera's right up to his face, right? Such an old man move. And I know disrespect to Skip, but it is. It's like, why do you have to have it like right there? So he's like, the camera's right in his face, and he's going off for 20 minutes about how LeBron James is petty, and he's doing this as a negotiating tactic. He wants out of LA. I'm curious to know if you agree with those sentiments, and because if yes, that is a realistic possibility. LeBron coming to the Warriors. That is not out of the realm of a possibility. It's not. I think it's actually a very realistic scenario. Now, granted, if Jonathan Kuminga plays lights out, it becomes a moot point, but Joe Lacob loves his stars. And we all know, like, he reached out to the Lakers a year ago about LeBron, and LeBron's camp shut that discussion down. But if he's faking this thing, oof, I mean, that's a whole other set of drama in LA, and it keeps these trade discussions alive in terms of the possibility of it. And Mark, I'm gonna pick your brain on that if you don't mind. After I give some love to Delete Me, a fantastic application that makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off your data. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. And it's not just protecting your privacy, folks. It's also one service they do, which is phenomenal, is scrubbing your digital footprint. And I know we all have said and done things that in hindsight, we wish we could just scrub and erase. Excuse me. Well, Delete Me literally does that for you. So take control of your data, keep it private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/pro and use the promo code PRO at checkout. The only way to get that 20% discount is to go to joindeleteme.com/pro and enter the promo code PRO at checkout for 20% off. One more time, that's joindeleteme.com/pro and use the promo code PRO at checkout for a 20% discount. LeBron James isn't giving a 20% discount to anyone. He turns 41 in 2 months, and he still thinks he's a max player. And look, the teams will pay him that max dollars. He's still very relevant. He's also missing his first opener of his career. He's always been available for opening night until this season. The injury report is listing a sciatic nerve issue as keeping him out. You have people like Skip Bayless going on 20-minute rants, calling bullshit, saying that LeBron is actually doing this as a tactic to try and get out. That LeBron doesn't like the fact that he's second fiddle in LA now to Luka. He's not happy with his contract situation. Mark, what do you think about all this?
Well, you know, that's an interesting stat. You said this would be his first ever opening night missing. I did not know that. But the one thing I did know is his first ever opening night happened right here in Sacramento, right behind me. Well, Arco Arena isn't there anymore, but it was back there. But nah, I don't faking it. I don't think he's faking it. Now, can he play? You know, is he able to play through this? You know, maybe so. Maybe so. Like you said, he's turning 41 or 46, whatever it is, coming up in December or whatever. The guy's old. The guy's played in, maybe the second most games. I don't know where he's at on the list of games played. I'm sure he's gonna get to number one at some point. But I think any little thing that, like, I think he's looking at Luka in the way that he looked at Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was a guy and I think most of us looked at Anthony Davis that way as well. He was a guy that was supposed to help prolong LeBron's career. He was a guy that was supposed to be in the MVP candidate, race every single year or whatever. Now looking at Luka Doncic, who's in his prime, I do think LeBron sees, like, if I do need to take days off, if I can't go to, to start the season or whatever, Luka can carry us there. Right. I think LeBron is in a space where if he has something to say that people didn't like or don't like, I think he would say it. He did that whole he did the sit down thing or whatever, and it ended up being a Hennessy ad or
Right,
whatever.
right.
But either way, even if it wasn't a Hennessy ad, he did something that he knew everybody would hate it, and he did it anyway. So I don't think he would shy away from, saying, "Oh, I want to be traded," or "I'm not happy with my contract," or I want to go play with Steph." I Believe he would say it. Now, would he say it publicly or whatever, or behind doors? Who knows? LeBron is real, cryptic as far as like how he's actually moving or whatever. But he's cussing a lot more nowadays. So
He is, yeah.
I don't think he's scared of anybody or worried about what people has to say about him. And I think can he play through this? Probably so. But
Okay.
I think he's looking at it like, well, I got Luca right here or whatever. Luca can hold it down until I get back.
That's funny, man. So, in your opinion, because my opinion is you don't trade Kuminga for LeBron. It's. I mean, LeBron is he turns 41 this year. I understand that it's LeBron, right? But at the same
Mhm.
time, I like looking ahead every once in a
Right.
while. And 2 years from now, you make that trade, and the Warriors could be the Wizards. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we're looking at, and
Yeah.
that's the last thing I want for this team. Um, from an outsider's perspective, like yours, would you do that trade if you're the Warriors? Would you give up Kuminga, and it'd probably also have to include like Moody and Pajemski to make the dollars work as well? Would you do that trade, or do you think that would be foolish?
And I think it makes sense to make the trade, and I also think it don't. Right? I think it's foolish to make the trade because you're giving away your future. But if it's really about maximizing Steph Curry's last days, Draymond's last days or whatever, bringing in a LeBron James. If you got LeBron to the Bay Area, it's no way he gets there and he's like, "Oh, we're just playing to have fun." He understands, if I'm playing on a team with Steph Curry, there is no way that we can lose. We have to win.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if one championship is worth potentially turning into the Wizards, you know, that might be a genius, move. But if that one championship isn't worth that, then it's no way you could do that.
Well, and then that begs the question: in your opinion, if they do make a trade like that, do the Warriors win the chip this year?
And you said let's say they give up Kaminga and Moody,
And
and
realistically, it you
Kaminga, Moody.
the Lakers would ask for a lot, and I'm sorry, and Joe Lacob would probably acquiesce. He'd probably say yes to whatever the Lakers ask for, and they're going to want young pieces. That would be my guess. So you're probably looking at Kuminga, Moody, Pajemski. That would be
Mhm.
my guess for what they want back. And so if they make this trade, the Warriors hypothetically would the starting lineup would look like Steph, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Draymond Green, Al Horford. And then coming off the bench, you would have players like Buddy Hield, Quentin Post,
Mhm.
Trace Jackson Davis, D'Anthony Melton, Seth Curry, guys like that would
Yeah.
be your bench pieces. Yeah. So
I
does
think
that team win the championship, or are they too old?
I think they're one of the favorites. If that happens, I think they would be one of the favorites. I think and I could be being naive or whatever to the greatness of Steph Curry and LeBron or whatever, but we seen them in the Olympics and the way they can, just take over a game, putting
Yeah.
them two dudes on the same team and with those brains, you think of Al Horford, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, and then you move it. You got Anthony Melton on the bench, and Buddy Hield, guys who could, score the rock or whatever. I think they would automatically become one of the favorites, and I think you have a really good shot of winning it all because, like I said, you get a really, really determined. I think Steph and LeBron are both determined to win
Yes.
separated. But
Yes.
if they're side by side, they would know what that would mean to their legacies. Like like both of them, their legacy is set.
Yeah.
But if you stick them on the same team, that's a whole nother layer. That's a whole nother layer. You do not want to end your career saying, well, LeBron and Steph teamed up, and in their 40s, even though I'm joking with that, but they teamed up late in their career, they're still expected to win and they didn't win or whatever. So that would be the pressure that would be on them, and I think it would be enough. I think they would be. I would put my if it was a FanDuel line on them, I would put my money on them winning it all.
They would definitely be one of the favorites. I wouldn't doubt that, just because the impact of LeBron on these lines, and especially teamed up with Steph.
I couldn't even imagine it. I couldn't even
they'd be a
imagine that.
comfortable favorite. But then you also have folks like Lil Buck here, who are strongly opposed to the trade, largely because of the average age, which Little Buck, if you're accurate, would be 37, at least for the starting unit. That's old. That's old. I mean,
that's very old.
And look, if this sciatic thing is real, I mean, who's to say it's not going to be another issue 2 months from now? Like the injury, that's the risk. And I'm sure, I don't doubt there would be a lot of contemplation if this became reality in terms of the risk reward factor, right? I mean, you're one of the favorites for the championship if they're healthy, right?
If they're
and then that becomes the huge if. Like, are you mortgaging the future for a team that, if they're healthy, can make a legit run? But that's a huge if, man, for a team who's either above 40 in terms of your best players or pushing 40. And then people in the chat are asking, like, would you make that trade for LeBron and or Giannis? Me personally, I would say no to LeBron just because of the risk factor. It's just, I don't want a team that old. I just, plain and simple. Bottom line, it's too much of a risk to mortgage the future. Giannis, on the other hand, I mean, Giannis is what, 30? I mean, Giannis, I would not hesitate. That would be an easy trade to make. By the way, Mark, are you gonna, next Tuesday is the season opener? I can't believe we're here, man.
Right.
So are you going to join me for the post-game show? Are you going to be able to pull a late episode like that?
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it.
Awesome.
It'll probably have to be quick, but no.
Well, again, if you got to jump out early, that's fine. But at least we can get it started with you on board. That'd be huge, man.
For sure.
I'm and it's going to be Warriors Lakers. That is what's going to kick off the season. And I'm looking at the lines right now, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook. First of all, your Sacramento Kings, they play tomorrow. Is it their last preseason game or second to last? Do you know?
I lied. I think a couple of weeks ago. I think I said 4. They have 5, so it was 3 more. 3 more. They got 3 more.
Oh, so they got a few. Okay, so the Warriors only have 1 more preseason game left. Sacramento has 3, from what you're saying. Well, tomorrow's the first one without Keegan Murray, and it's going to be very interesting to see what their lineup looks like. How is Dennis Schroeder looking, by the way?
Dennis Schroeder is looking like Dennis Schroeder in the NBA.
That's not, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of which version of Dennis Schroeder, but it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good.
No.
He hasn't been impactful. He's doing the same thing, like how I explained with Nick Clifford and being a rookie, and I was like, he's kind of trying to figure out where his spots are, and which equals out to not doing much. That's kind of where Schroeder is at right now, whatever. But I think, I think we got. I don't know what his line was last game or whatever. Maybe he did better than what I seen or whatever, whatnot. But I've seen all of game 1. it was not nice, but it's preseason. It's preseason. We got time. We'll see what happens next. That's why it's a game tomorrow, and you know we'll check back in on that next week.
All right. Well, tomorrow. Oh, boys, and what were the bad versions of Schroeder? I'm guessing the Lakers version was not good, right? Because the Lakers version is what cost them the big contract extension, if I remember correctly.
No, so didn't the Lakers offer him the extension and he left?
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's what I can't remember exactly. Hold on, I want to look it up now. I'm curious.
I think y'all had a bad version because y'all traded him. That
was dumb. That was dumb. Anybody, I feel like, with half a brain could have predicted that one. Here is and again, we were saying that on this show. That was not a smart move. Dennis Schroeder has played for a lot of teams. He played for the Atlanta Hawks. That's who he started with.
He played for a lot of teams.
He did, yeah. And I think he was on that Hawks team that won 60 games. And then he went to OKC. I forgot all about that.
I forgot about that one.
And he played there for 2 years, and then he played for the Lakers for a year. And then Boston is where he went, where it kind of started going downhill for a little while. And he got traded from the Celtics to the Rockets, went back to LA, and then played in Toronto, then played in Brooklyn, and then the Warriors and the Pistons. A lot of teams. He's bounced around quite a bit. So, so what you're saying is that Sacramento should be prepared for the Celtics version of Dennis Schroeder.
Oh man, it was
oh boy.
Hopefully not. I'm not saying that. So hopefully not. But thus far, it has not been pretty.
Sounds good. Well, anyway, so the Kings are underdogs tomorrow. This game is at Golden One, 3.5 point underdogs. The Clippers are favored by 3.5. So the Sacramento Kings money line, again, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 128, and the OU for that game 226.5. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again: if you're betting on preseason action, good luck to you. May the light shine on you from above. And you're a lunatic because betting on preseason, you might as well just flip a coin and hope for the best. It's preseason. I mean, come on now. We were going to touch the NBA GM survey, but we've also been going for an hour 20. I'm going to leave it up to you. If you feel like we had a complete show, I would agree with you, and we could call it a wrap. If you want to go through the GM survey, we can do that as well. Your call, Mark. What do you think?
Let's do a couple. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right, let's do it. I love it. No, I'm in. You're the one with the family, so yeah. I can roll, man. My schedule.
I'm definitely gonna get in trouble, but let's do it. I think I can get a couple out of them.
I won't rat you out. I promise. If Mrs. Haynes reaches out and goes, could you have wrapped that show up? Did you have to do the NBA GM survey? I will say yes. We had to. Had to. It was a commitment that we made. So the NBA releases a GM survey every year, and I love this thing because unlike the surveys you see on ESPN where they say we interviewed 20 anonymous scouts and coaches and executives,
right? You
have no idea who these people are. I'm not there are a lot of scouts who have no business being a scout, and same for coaches and execs, right? But when you're talking about the actual GMs, these are the 30 shot callers. Realistically speaking, they're more like the arms of the owners. I mean, I know there's some teams where the owner actually bestows trust to the GM, but make no mistake, when it comes to the final decision, especially involving like $100 million contracts or something crazy like that, it's the owners given the green or the red light. But with that said, the NBA does this every year. It's the GM survey, and they ask questions of all 30 GMs pertaining to who they think is going to be MVP, who they think is going to win the championship, and so forth, stuff like that. So we'll stick to the really good ones here in terms of what some of the results were. And I didn't see Sacramento mentioned a lot in this.
I didn't see them at all. I didn't see them at all. I was offended for the city of Sacramento. I was like, hold on, at least something. I didn't see him at all. Not on. I don't. And they, what was it? It was 45 questions.
Was it that many?
I think so. I believe it was 45 and
not one
nothing.
mention. Well, let's start with the easy one, which was the NBA GM survey asked who's going to win the finals this year. 80% said the Thunder were going to repeat as champs. 7%, which is two GMs, think the Cavs will win it. Another two GMs think the Nuggets will win it. Last year, 83% said the Celtics, and the Rockets and Knicks also got a vote. Any surprises here? Any omissions that you think should have been included?
No, because outside, I feel like everybody should have said OKC is gonna repeat. Now it doesn't mean that they are, but
Right.
I just don't see how you could pick anybody over them if we're just saying who we think gonna win right now. They've done nothing but potentially get better. So OKC is a unanimous decision, which 83% says that.
Do you think OKC is going to win it? Do you have a prediction for who's going to win the title this year?
I do. I think OKC. I picked them last year. Before this, I actually picked. I picked, like, I was just looking at what they did once they got Isaiah Hartenstein. I was like, that's going to be something nobody's going to be able to match. Like, he was the perfect fit for them. The year prior to that, I thought they had a chance, and that was with Jalen Williams, J-Dub, as their starting power forward. So you get Hartenstein and you move him back. Now you move Williams to a legit small forward.
Yeah.
So, whatever that made them untouchable. Then they added Alex Caruso, and they haven't lost anything. They, the guys got, and they're all young. So I'd imagine Jalen Williams comes back better, although he had the wrist injury or whatever, I think it was, but I think it was his left wrist. And but I expect SGA obviously to have another MVP season. So I definitely have them as the favorites. I think they win it all.
Andres Milian in the chat, Armando's cousin, who joins us every Friday for a happy hour. Andres, great to see you. And if for some reason YouTube is adding all these numbers to everyone's handle, because Andres Milian is now Andres Milian -04H or 04H. Anyway, yeah, I don't know why they're doing that, but Andres is saying that the Clippers and the Nuggets are not afraid of OKC. Well, the NBA GMs were asked, if you're starting a franchise today and could sign any player in the NBA, who would it be? 83% said Wemby, 13% said SGA, and then one GM picked Nikola Jokic. Who would you go with?
I'm going Wemby. I'm with the majority on this. Like, although Wemby, when you think of guys of his size or whatever, it's hard for them to stay healthy, but he's a generational talent. He's a guy that it's hard to build him on NBA 2K, and to be great. So I'm taking him. I think he has too many abilities that you can't just find anywhere else.
I'm going with the player who did not get any votes, and that's Cooper Flagg.
I ain't mad.
Yeah, I mean, the kid's 18. Yeah. And here's the big, and besides that, Wemby, a player of Wemby's size, does scare me a little bit in terms of injuries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, durability is not on the side of guys this big, and he already missed time last year with the blood clots. Like, that would be a little concerning for me. And so if I would go with Cooper Flagg, man, you're talking about a guy who could play for the next 20 years at an elite level. And then what about this one? I don't know if this made you think at all or not, but this surprised me a little bit in terms of the low number Stephen Curry got. The GMs were asked which player forces opposing coaches to make the most adjustments. And Nikola Jokic got the overwhelming majority of votes at 57%. Giannis Antetokounmpo was second with 17%. And then Stephen Curry, who I thought would have gotten a lot more votes, came in at third with 13%. Luka Doncic at 10%, and SGA rounds it out at 3%, meaning 1 vote. Did anything surprise you here, or do you think the GM's got it right?
Yeah, no, I thought Steph should have been number 2, in my opinion. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
like Steph is that guy that there's no way that you can not like that. I feel like with this, obviously, I'm assuming they all had 1 pick, so
Yeah.
in that case, I get it. Yeah, I would say Joker is the most, difficult to plan for or whatever. So now maybe Steph lost votes that way, but I feel like there's no way he's not second. Like Giannis is, I feel like Giannis is still out there. It's one game plan. You just need to build a wall. If you build a wall, you can slow down Giannis. You can't say one thing to stop Steph Curry.
True.
So
Yeah,
that's
true.
that's why I think he should be number 2.
And adding to that, when I hear NBA players being interviewed, and more specifically, the topic is which player in the other team is causing the most headaches for you. I mean, there are players who act like Stephen Curry has traumatized them because of how difficult it is to chase him around the court.
Yeah.
Because even if you're doing your damn best, he'll go on a streak of like 3 straight threes. And I mean, like 3 threes in a row is 9 points. That's a lot. And Steph does that like it's nothing, where all of a sudden the game is just swung like from one side to the other. Like he is the mechanism that swings the pendulum of momentum in a game. It's impressive. And I was a little surprised to see him low. That's not to take away from Nikola Jokic's greatness, but Steph is just a different beast. We'll touch on this one real fast. Might as well. I have a few I want to scroll down. Are there any specific ones that you can think of that you want me to touch on before we move forward?
Once we get to it's in the defender ones. I think it was
perfect.
Yeah,
No, that's all I need.
yeah.
Okay. Well, let's address this one while it's on the screen real fast. Which player is most likely to have a breakout season? The GMs were asked. And maybe this is a little surprising to you folks. A lot of players got votes, but Amen Thompson got the most votes. He got 30% of the vote for which player is most likely to have a breakout season. Side note, Mark, I don't know if you saw the clip today. He got into a little tussle with Alvarado of the Pelicans. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I love
Alvarado's just a pest, dude. Like he's
it.
a little tryhard, and I'm not hating on Alvarado saying this, but I could see a player like Amen Thompson just having enough, right? Like the gas gets blown, he's losing his shit, and because Alvarado is he's a tryhard, man. He hustles for every little thing. I don't know. Did you have any added thoughts on that scuffle today?
I love Alvarado. I love everything he's about, how he plays the game, how he approaches it. Like you said, he plays hard. He's a try-hard guy.
He is a try-hard.
Or whatever. And everybody hates playing against that dude.
Yes.
Everybody hates when you're going through walkthrough and practice, you got somebody jogging. And that's him. That's him to a T. And I love I love his response or whatever. Like he's him and his brother or whatever, they are dogs. They are not backing down from anybody in the league. And a breakout season. So when we say breakout season, who's some of the other guys on the list?
A lot of great names. So again, Amen Thompson was first. He got 30% of the vote. There was a 3-way tie for second between Brandon Miller of Charlotte, who I agree with. It could be a superstar in this game.
Yep.
Amen's twin brother Osser tied for second, along with Victor Wembanyama. My guess is this another way to interpret this question is, which player do you think could win most improved? Is that how you interpret it as well, or no?
Not necessarily, because Wemby would be more. He's already passed. I feel like Wemby can't win most improved. I'm like, I don't know. My expectations from him are already like, I feel like he said it last year. I feel like he established that like he's legit.
Yeah.
He is him.
Yeah.
He's one. I think his play is also part of the reason why Houston shipped out, Jalen Green or whatever, because it's like we have this guy, and he could do things on both ends of the floor. He could score. He could facilitate. He's super athletic. or whatever. So a breakout, in order for him to have a breakout season for me, it means he has to be an all-star this year in the Western Conference. That would mean breakout.
Right.
And to become an all-star in the West, that's tough.
Dude,
That's
God, dude,
that's tough.
you're making an all-star team in the West this year is an accomplishment if you can do that. You're absolutely right. It's whereas in the East, you might see some funky names at the bottom. I thought these next two answers was a testament to just the impact of Stephen Curry and just how much of a variable he is out there for other teams to be concerned about, because the GMs were asked who is the best point guard and who is the best shooting guard in the NBA. And Steph got votes for both. SGA was the winner for best point guard, getting 73% of the vote. Luka was second with 17%. And then there's Stephen Curry third with 7%. And then Tyrese Halliburton added one vote there for 3%. But then you look at the best shooting guard, and Anthony Edwards is first there with 70%. Donovan Mitchell second with 13%. Luka and SGA, those two players are also transcendent in terms of that position. They're just guards, right? Like right. I feel like people are not differentiating these types of players as being shooting or point guards. And Steph is in there as well. Steph was fifth in voting for that for shooting guard, third for a point guard. And I know you said the Kings didn't get any love here, but former Kings, Tyrese Halliburton.
yeah, him and De'Aaron. I seen De'Aaron somewhere too.
Oh,
so, yeah. Former Kings, yeah. No love.
There's a lot of people in our chat tonight who just are bringing up a lot of history about the Kings and so many mistakes that were just made. Marvin Bagley.
That could be a whole show. Luka Doncic should have been a Sacramento King.
Oh my God.
That's something, like that's part of why the King, not part, that's probably the biggest reason the Kings are in the situation they are in right now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how, like, Sacramento is a great basketball city. Could you imagine having Luka here?
Yes.
That'd been crazy.
It would have been insane. It would have been absolutely insane. In case people are unfamiliar, Sacramento has a basketball team because that area of the state used to be Warriors country. It's just Northern California. We love our basketball. Yeah. And where did the Kings come from? Kansas City?
Kansas City.
Yeah. And so they recognized back then in the 80s, they were like, people love their hoops there. Let's steal some Warriors fans. And there you have the genesis of the Sacramento Kings. This one I thought was surprising in terms of off-season moves. Which team made the best overall moves this offseason? The Atlanta Hawks were the overwhelming choice. They got the majority of votes, 53%. And I think that's largely because of that trade that they made with the New Orleans Pelicans to get their first-round pick next year. Because I don't know if they made that many incredible moves this offseason besides that trade. Did they? I mean,
didn't they get Porzingis?
Yeah, but I get. I mean, but is that a big move? I mean,
I think you pair that with that draft pick or whatever. I think it's up there, but I don't think it's better than what Houston did in going and getting Kevin Durant.
Exactly. And Houston was second. They got 27% of the vote. And Denver, who got Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., they made the trade for Cam Johnson. They get 10% of the vote. Orlando and Boston round out the top five. Funny that Boston got recognition for shedding contracts, man. This is an example of the GM perspective in a vote like this.
This is where Sacramento could have got on. Like Boston got on for getting rid of people. We traded up to get Nick Clifford. We got Dennis Schroeder over here. God. Oh, excuse me, and Dario Sarge.
Good attempt. I respect the A for effort, Mark. A for effort. Let me scroll down here. I want to get to the defense. Just some real quick ones like Cooper Flagg, the overwhelming favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Although, you know what? I'll share this real fast because this is an example of where people can really get it wrong sometimes too, and more specifically GMs, because this survey also mentions last year's results, and last year, 50% of the GMs thought Reed Shepherd would win Rookie of the Year, and he wasn't even in the rotation. I think he spent more time with the Houston Rockets G League team. And this follow-up question: which rookie will be the best player in 5 years? Cooper Flagg getting 93% of the vote. VJ Edgecombe, Dylan Harper also getting some votes. Last year, Reed Shepherd got 43% of the vote. 5 years ago, James Wiseman got 36% of the vote in terms of which rookie will be the best player in 5 years. And that also indicates that it's been 5 years since the James Wiseman draft pick.
Wow.
Time flies, man. Yeah,
Wow.
that is crazy.
And I'm a big fan of the VJ Edgecombe kid. Like,
Me too.
I do think, I was a little surprised. What the first one was, like, the best rookie this year or whatever. I actually think VJ could edge Cooper out on that simply because of opportunities. And he has, like, he's already showing in preseason he has that Anthony Edwards type flair when it comes to the court or whatever. Like, he's not afraid to go up and try to dunk on anybody if you're in the way. But he's a guy that could play. I think both of them are really, really good rookies. And I wouldn't say the pick was wrong to pick Cooper, because I think Cooper is going to be amazing or whatever. But I think VJ is I think he's going to surprise people. If you don't know about the kid, I think he's going to surprise you.
He looked, from the clips I've seen so far, Edgecombe looks damn good. Dylan Harper looks damn good. He's either going to be a 2 or a small ball 3. And Ace Bailey, my God, man. Like, if you told me 5 years from now Ace Bailey was going to be, let's say, the next Tracy McGrady, I would not be shocked. He looks good. It makes you wonder if the teams drafting ahead of the Jazz made a mistake in passing on Ace Bailey, but we shall see. But he's special. There's a lot of special players in this draft. The GM survey was also asked which rookie was the biggest steal at where he was drafted. And Miami won this one with Kasparis Jekšušonis. And I think I mispronounced that a little bit, but he got 17% of the vote. Ace Bailey, Carter Bryant each got 10%. Joan Behringer of Minnesota, Liam McNeely of Charlotte, and Ozza Newell of Atlanta all tied for 4th with 7% of the vote. And this is where your team did get some love right there.
There you go. His name there. Yeah. Neek, right there.
Neek Clifford got a vote for being potentially the biggest steal in the draft. And the Warriors didn't have a draft pick. So, and last year, just to show you in hindsight whether these GMs are right or wrong, Bub Carrington, Devin Carter, another Sacramento King, Johnny Furphy, Dalton Connect. Who does Furphy play for now? I saw his name somewhere recently.
The Pacers, I think.
Pacers, thank you. Yes. Terrence Shannon Jr. and Nikola Topic were the leaders in that category last year. Anything you want to add to this one?
Liam McNeely.
Okay.
When I was very, very impressed with him at the Summer League. I didn't know it was that Shaq said I wasn't aware of his game. I wasn't aware of his game like that, but the dude can play, and I do think he's one of the biggest steals of the draft. Just being in Charlotte, we'll see how that go, because also we talked about Brandon Miller. This is a year that Brandon Miller could take a step and into the next level. But they got some things to work out over there. It's, whenever you got a bunch of young guys together, it's chaotic. But Liam McNeely is a really, really good player, and he got a little love on this list, so I'm happy about that.
He got a little bit, yeah. This one, the GMs were asked who was the best international player not in the NBA. And for the second year in a row, Sasha Vezenkov won the top billing.
Oh, there goes Sacramento.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, what happened there? Because the Sacramento Kings, if I remember correctly, actually gave this guy a good chunk of money. but it didn't work out. Why? And why is it that despite the fact it did not work out for Vezenkov with both the Kings and the Raptors, if I remember correctly, why are GMs still calling him the best when it didn't work out the first time? Do they think like it's going to work out again? Like, what's your take on this?
No, that was interesting. Like to see that, I was surprised. I did see his name up there,
Yeah.
but I just feel like the NBA game doesn't fit him at all. I don't think in the NBA he's a good player, and maybe they're saying that off of what he does internationally.
Right.
And that's the only thing I could think of, because here in the NBA and the style of play, the pace, the way the rules are or whatever, he is not impactful. And it was he just seemed out of place. He showed spurts of he could shoot the ball, he could do certain things or whatever, but it's like just like it's a lot of street ballers who can score the basketball, but nobody is going to sign, a street baller to come average 30 for him when you got SGA on the team or Steph Curry on the team. I just don't need that. So I feel like with Sasha Vezenkov, I feel like that's what it is. He's a good player internationally. I just don't need that here, and I can't use you this way.
And for whatever reason, because when he first came to the NBA, I was so intrigued that I watched a lot of his games, and there were so many possessions that I watched of Vezenkov where he was wide open for a 3-pointer, and it just went clank. He like his shot wasn't falling. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it's just that dropped, and you got to make your shots, man. It's not complicated. So I don't know. Did you notice that too, or
no? All of Sacramento noticed it, but it was. I think more so is just like you go from being the guy overseas and shooting any shot you want to shoot, and then you get in the situation where you're a catch and shoot guy, and that's it. Nothing else. Not So I think he's a guy that needs rhythm and stuff, and that's why I mentioned the pace or whatever of the NBA game. Nobody unless you're Nikola Jokic, nobody in the league is slowing down for you. And
we have a Just Guap in the chat, and I think he found this show through Bleav In Kings. Is asking, what is this channel about? I'm just now tuning in. Is this pre-recorded? Yes, Guap. I'm terribly sorry. This is a recording. You did not catch the live version, but I appreciate you joining us regardless. I mean, thank you. Side note, obviously, I'm pulling. Just messing around with you. This has to be live. Yeah, we're live. And thanks for tuning in. This is real quick, Mark. Tell Just Guap and everyone else what your channel is about, because your channel isn't just Bleav In Kings. You've also got football content. Take it away, sir.
Just Guap, man. Welcome to the show, man. But I am Mark Haynes, the host of the Bleav In Kings pod. Obviously, my channel is The Closer Sports, where you can find Bleav In Kings. You can find other content that I do with this handsome face over here. And you can also find other things like, football content or whatever's going on, whether it's a boxing match or whatever, just anything sports on The Closer Sports. And this right here is the I-80 crossover. And that's my man Cyrus Saatsaz over there, who's the host of the Golden Daze podcast, where he covers the Golden State Warriors, and he's one of the best in the business. And we're calling this, I don't know where you're from, but if the I-80 crossover, we're referencing the freeway that we share from the Bay to Sacramento. That's how you get there. If I'm going to his house, I got to jump on the I-80. And if he's coming over here, he got to do the same. And this is our every Tuesday night, starting at 9 o'clock. This is where you can find us talking about Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings.
That really shitty freeway known as the I-80. I like the Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge is pretty cool. But I say the most of the rest of it, just watch out for potholes and traffic and all that fun stuff. Degenerate Dad is asking, is former Sacramento King great Mike Bibby? Is he the head coach at Sac State now?
Yes, sir. You got
there you go.
Head coach over there.
There you go.
Shaq is the GM of Sac State's basketball team. So
no shit.
Yeah, Mike Bibby and Shaq, and it's Shaquille O'Neal's son, Shakir O'Neal, is on the team. Shaquille O'Neal and Mikey Williams are all at Sac State.
What are you guys the Hornets? I know that's not your school, but is Sac State the Hornets? Is that
Yeah,
their mascot? All right, so
yeah,
there you
Sac
go.
State Hornets, and they're saying is Stingers up. Yeah, that's what.
Oh, I forgot all about that, man. Shaquille O'Neal. It is a weird trend we're seeing where these NBA players are taking on, like, they're putting on a GM cap for various schools. Like Stephen
Right?
Curry, I believe, is the GM of his alma mater, Davidson,
Yeah,
which is huge, right? Because
yeah.
if what that means is you get to actually get my phone number. That's a recruitment tactic, dude. Like, could you imagine if you're deciding between schools and suddenly, like, your phone blows up and it's Shaq or it's Steph, and they're like,
Hmm.
"Hey, man," if it's Shaq, it's like, "Hey, man, you suck state," you know. Well, however, I can't do a good impression of him, but you get what I'm saying here, man. You get a call from Shaq or from Steph, and they're like, "Come to my school. This is my number." I'm sure that's gonna, like, nudge you in a certain direction, dude. That's huge. And I don't know if
Right.
Adrian Wojnarowski started the trend by being the GM of his alma mater, St. Bonaventure, and that led to players then, or maybe someone else did it beforehand. I don't know, but it is kind of crazy and kind of cool. Kev F saying, "Go Aggies." I think that's UC Davis,
UC
right?
Davis, yeah.
Yeah.
Causeway Classic.
Hey now. So now we go to defense. It is showing on the screen. Okay, so the GMs were asked who is the best defensive player in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama, the overwhelming winner, getting 80% of the vote. Rudy Gobert getting 7%. Evan Mobley getting 7%. Giannis and Lou Dort each get 1 vote. Wemby was last year's winner as well, but he doubled his vote total. I thought it was a little surprising that Draymond Green did not even get a vote. Your thoughts on this category?
I think they got it right with Wemby, but I would have liked Evan Mobley above Rudy. I think Evan Mobley is a much better defender, more versatile than Rudy Gobert. I like that Lou Dort got some love here, and Draymond is he's one of the best. He's one of the greatest defenders of all time. And he's still, defending at a high level. Is he defending the way that he used to? Obviously, no, he's older or whatever. But I think, yeah, I would have I would have threw him a vote out
Like
there.
a vote, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that postseason, I think, really damaged his image as an elite defender when Julius Randle was scoring at will. I think that damaged again the image of Draymond as being one of the best defenders.
That's a tough matchup.
It is a tough matchup, yeah. But Draymond had never been schooled like that in his life. Like that was the first time someone straight up was not bothered by Draymond Green's defense. I'd never seen that in my life until that series, and
Right.
that would be my guess for why the GMs have soured a little bit on Draymond. Best perimeter defender in the NBA, Dyson Daniels of the Hawks, getting the top billing there, 31% of the vote. Alex Caruso second with 24%. Amin Thompson third, 22%. Lou Dort 14%. Drew Holiday still getting love as a defender on the perimeter. He got 7% of the vote. And Ozzer Thompson getting 1 vote. Last year, Drew Holiday led this category. What are your thoughts on best perimeter defender?
This is the one that I had a problem with.
Okay.
Where is Herb Jones in this?
Oh, good point.
Not a single vote.
Good point.
Like I ain't saying he gotta be number one, even though I personally think he's a top 3 perimeter defender. Like I think what Herb Jones does on the defensive end is special. Now I don't know, I purposely didn't look up his, numbers or any statistics or whatever, but just on the eye level, whenever I remember watching him here in Sacramento when De'Aaron Fox was here. De'Aaron Fox is on this list as well as the fastest player in the NBA, which he's been at, looks like probably 8 years or however long he's been in the league. He's been the fastest player in the league. And I've seen Herb Jones pick him up 94 feet and give him hell for 94 feet. Switch on the people. Like I think he's one of, if not, he's my favorite defender in the league, perimeter defender. But I think he definitely should have been on this list.
It's a good point. No pushback at all. It's there you go. Am I pronouncing Ozzer Thompson's name right? It's Ozzer, right?
I think it's Asur.
Asur
And
is
I think I could be wrong. I butcher names all the time or
well,
whatever.
Smelly garbage fluid. Nice handle, by the way, in our chat saying I don't know if he's telling me I'm saying it wrong. I thought it was Ozzer or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's Asur.
I think it's Asur.
Asur Thompson
and Amin. Right.
All right. I need to pay attention to the broadcasters the next time they mention his name. Forgive me if I butcher that. What about interior defender? Do you have any issue with this one? Victor Wembanyama getting 80%, Rudy Gobert 10%, and that's it.
That's great. I mean, yeah, I mean that's fair, I guess.
Yeah. Now, versatile is an interesting one. I think this is referencing players who can guard 1 through 5, players who,
right.
If you switch, it's not going to matter. And Amen Thompson,
Draymond should be on this list.
And he is, yeah, rightfully
okay.
so. But Amen Thompson with a slight winner. What I don't understand, maybe you could help me with this, Mark. So 30 GMs are surveyed for this, right? How can in a 30-person vote, how can one person get 18% and one gets 17%? Am I missing something there? I feel like the math is not right. Anyways, Amen Thompson barely comes away the winner. I guess I'm bringing that up because I feel like this is they could have done this just a slight Draymond. They're like, it was a tie, but we hate Draymond, so let's just give Amen an extra 1%. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, Amen Thompson, 18%, Draymond, 17%, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 13%, Dyson Daniels and Evan Mobley and Victor Wembanyama tied for 4th with 10% of the vote. OG Anunoby and Lou Dort tied for 7th with 7% of the vote. Also getting votes, Tumani Kamara of Portland, Tari Eason of Houston, and Asur Thompson, or is it Ozzer Thompson? I don't know, of Detroit. Any thoughts or opinions or takes on versatile defender?
Where is Herb Jones? Where is he? Not on the list again. I don't understand. I don't understand. I think maybe because the Pelicans were so bad, but that's all I could think of. Because I'm like, no slight at any of the guys on this list, but I have if you see Herb Jones play in person, and you see all the things he do defensively, from guarding 1 through 4 in this small ball era. Like the dude is amazing. The dude is amazing.
Kev F adding maybe the most honest take in terms of why Herb Jones got the old stiffle here, the stiff arm. Nobody watches the Pelicans, and maybe you're right. Maybe it comes down to that. It's just
maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Especially last year, dude. Like I don't know if anybody was really interested in them. Borderline unwatchable. Maybe that's what it is. Because you're right. Herb Jones is a fantastic defensive player. By the way, Desirio in our chat is saying it's Asser Thompson.
I don't think so.
But he's being serious though. He wrote, see, right before that he goes, y'all are both wrong, and then follow that with Asser. But like unless he's making fun, I don't know. But there you go. Anything else? I'm sorry.
It's a SAR.
A SAR. Okay.
A SAR.
Asar Thompson. Asar.
Yeah, well, I don't even remember what I said earlier. It's Asar. I'm doubling and tripling down on Asar.
So the S is like a strong pronunciation. Like you're emphasizing the S. It's not a soft S. It's Asar.
I'm going with Asar. I'm sticking with it. I'm about to look up videos. I know it's a video where they're talking, they're doing an interview together, and they're saying each other's name.
Asar Thompson, who's from the Bay Area.
All right. They know about the I-80, and we over here butchering her up.
Yeah, you're right. I know
Jeez.
I got the Houston one right. It's Amon, but
Um,
I don't. But yeah, Asar. That sounds right. Best defensive team in the NBA. OKC dominating this one with
yeah,
83% of the vote.
yeah.
Minnesota second, I guess, because they have
Rudy.
Rudy Gobert, and then the Magic also getting
Oh,
7% of the
McDaniels
vote.
too. McDaniels is another one, but on that he was left off the perimeter defender list.
And
He should have been on there.
hold on a second. Dyson Daniels.
No, Jaden McDaniels.
Oh yeah, of Minnesota.
Yeah, he should
That's
have
a
been
good
on
one. You're
there.
right. That's a good one. 2 emissions
Yeah, there we
from
go.
best perimeter defender. I want to really quickly go to the coaches, and then I think we can wrap it up after that. Best head coach in the NBA. Eric Spoelstra gets 52% of the vote. He's also the new Team USA head coach. Mark Daigneault of OKC getting 34% of the vote. Amazing what winning a championship will do. And then Ty Lue. Those are the only 3 coaches that got votes. No. I apologize. Rick Carlisle and Nick Nurse. Wow. Also getting a vote. So, and last year, Spo won with 69%. Any surprise here? Do you think Doug Christie deserved to get votes?
If he get this team to the playoffs, I know next year he better be on this list. If he get this team to the playoffs, he better be top 5 for sure. He getting a vote.
Which head coach is the best manager, motivator of people? Spo getting first place again with 28%. Ime Udoka of Houston second in this category, 24%. Steve Kerr and Joe Mazzulla tied for third at 14%. Ty Lue rounding out the top 5 with 7%. Kenny Atkinson, JB Bickerstaff, Rick Carlisle, and Jamal Mosley also getting votes. Any thoughts on that one?
I would say Ime won, and I want Missoula. I want Missoula too.
Wow.
You know,
All right.
and maybe even close because Missoula, like, was that when was it when Tatum? It wasn't when he tore his Achilles or whatever, but he was hurt or something, and he was like, he just yells at, like, everybody's all concerned, and he yells, "Get up!" That's motivation right there. We don't care about you being hurt. Get up, get to the bench so we can keep going. Like, that's he won me over right there.
There you go. Ime Udoka is a fantastic coach. Which coach makes the best in-game adjustments? Ty Lue won this one with 40% of the vote. Mark Daigneault second with 23%. Rick Carlisle and Spo tied for third with 13% of the vote. Kenny Atkinson, Chris Finch, and Ime Udoka also getting a vote. Anything? Any omissions here? Anybody not getting votes? Any thoughts?
No, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. That's the people that deserve votes. I feel like they got them. Now the order, whatever.
What about which head coach runs the best offense? Rick Carlisle easily won this category, getting 53% of the vote. Kenny Atkinson, Chris Finch tied for second, each getting 10% of the vote. Mark Daigneault and Steve Kerr tied for fourth. They each get 7% of the vote. Mike Brown, Ty Lue, Quinn Snyder, I really like him as a coach, and Eric Spoelstra also getting a vote for best offense. Where's Doug Christie? Your thoughts? I'm kidding.
Well, Doug, he's a defensive guy, so I expect him to have a scrappy team. But nah, I like it. I like it. Number one was I think, yeah, number one was Carlisle, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Carlisle should be number one because when you look at that roster, there's not there's not an offensive juggernaut on that team, but his offense allows those guys to put up enough points, obviously to make it to the NBA Finals. And I don't think they would have won, the chip if Tyrese didn't get hurt. But who knows? Who knows what would have happened or whatever. But they were able to score enough points to get there. They beat teams that were considered better offensive teams. And that's a part of Rick Carlisle's DNA.
And defense, Mark Dagnall was the winner in this category, 37% of the vote. Ime Udoka second with 23%. Eric Spoelstra third, 13%. Ty Lue and Joe Mazzulla tied for fourth with 10% of the vote. JB Bickerstaff and Chris Finch rounding out the votes here. Spo was number one in this category a year ago. He drops a third. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think outside of Dagnall being gifted, not gifted, but they built it or whatever. But
Well, yeah.
he has the best
Gifted.
defensive team. Like the players, like if I was coaching that team, the one thing we would be is a good defensive team because they just have it. So I think Ime, seeing how he did with Boston and then moving, over to, moving to where is he at? Houston or whatever or whatnot. It shows wherever he goes, this style of play goes.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
So I would have him one.
I'm not muted. Am I? No. I thought this category was interesting, just in the sense of getting into the minds of the GMs in terms of who they respect the most as assistants.
Right.
And this list likely reflects who's going to get the next open jobs in the NBA. Micah Nori of Minnesota was first. He got 25% of the vote among all GMs for best assistant coach. Jeff Van Gundy second with 14%. Royal Ivey of Houston, 11%. Sam Cassell of Boston and Chris Quinn of Miami, each getting 7%. And then a lot of single votes here, including James Borrego of New Orleans, Darren Erman of New York, Darvin Ham of Milwaukee, Juwan Howard. I didn't know he was back in the NBA. He's an assistant with Brooklyn. Chris Gent with New York. Jay Larinaga with the Clippers. Josh Longstaff with Charlotte. Jerry Stackhouse of your Golden State Warriors getting a vote. Sean Sweeney of San Antonio. And Wes Unseld Jr. of Chicago. A lot of names. Did anything here surprise you at all?
Where's Mike Woodson?
I don't know.
He should be on this list.
Is he a SAC assistant this year?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. He's old school, man. I'm actually a little surprised he's still like assistant coaching. That's I mean, the dude's getting up there in years. Am I mistaken on that?
Yeah, he's up there. You can't tell by the beard because it's blacker than mine.
Okay, so he looks good. He doesn't look like
Okay. He looks the same. He looks like he always look.
He's been around for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Which active player will make the best head coach someday? I thought this is a little interesting. Chris Paul normally wins this. He won it last year too. He got 27% of the vote. Mike Conley and TJ McConnell second with 17% of the vote. Fred VanVleet fourth with 13%. Garrett Temple, that surprised me, with 10% of the vote. Drew Holiday of Portland with 7% of the vote. Kyle Anderson, Luke Cornett, and Andrew Nembhard also getting votes. Few surprises there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, Andrew Nembhard,
he's young, isn't he?
Yeah, I was about to say he's the youngest on that list, huh? Yeah, but he must be a smart guy. But I'm surprised that I think he said he doesn't want to be a coach or whatever. But I'm surprised Draymond and LeBron ain't on that list.
Same. Well, LeBron, I feel like it's there. I don't think there's a chance in hell he's going to do it.
Right.
That's probably why. You're right. The Draymond part, though, I agree. Right. Because he would make a great head coach. That's a little bizarre to me too. Yeah. Let me see if there's any other categories we should touch on. Which team is most fun to watch? That's a good one because this is entirely subjective. The results from the GMs. This is probably the one that makes the GMs most irrelevant because who cares about what they think about who the most fun team to watch is. But the Nuggets and the Thunder tied for first. The Pacers were third. The Warriors were fourth, tied with Minnesota. The Pistons, Rockets, Lakers, and Magic also getting votes. This is an interesting one, and I think this is one that we can opine just as relevantly as the GMs. Who is your favorite team to watch? If in terms of league pass rankings, who would be number one for you in terms of the team that you would want to sit down and watch that is not the Sacramento Kings?
if I had to pick, especially like let's just look at this list right here or whatever. What is it? It was Denver number one, OKC, Pacers. It's no way I want to watch those three teams over the Golden State Warriors.
Same. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like they have Steph Curry, the greatest offensive show on earth ever. I think Steph is the most exciting player to watch in the history of the game. Like I think the stuff the shots that he makes, the shots that he take, along with the pace that the Warriors play with, they're just fun. That like when I think of fun basketball, and
Yeah.
I think that's what the NBA is built off of now, is trying to duplicate what the Warriors have been doing for the last almost 2 decades or
Yes, sir.
whatever. You want to play, everybody wants to play with pace. Everybody wants to shoot a bunch of threes. Everybody wants to play Golden State Warriors basketball. And that's just point blank. So they have to be number one.
I no pushback here. Obviously, I mean the Warriors are just a very fun brand to a basketball to enjoy. The Rockets are listed. I would say the Rockets are a team I'm going to be watching a lot of this year.
They're my number two.
And they're number two on this. I'm not looking at it.
No,
right.
For me.
Oh yeah, for you too. Yeah. Some teams that like, because again, 7 nights a week this coming season, there's going to be basketball in terms of nationally televised games, and that's effing awesome. I can't wait for that. The teams I'm going to be glued when they're on for sure. I mean, Houston is going to be intriguing. I want to see how that looks. The Dallas Mavericks, I definitely want to watch this year, largely because I'm curious to see just how good Cooper Flag is going to be. Klay Thompson's still on that team. They're going to be interesting. Anthony Edwards, just him alone makes Minnesota watchable, and I know they're on that list as well. And then I don't know why Orlando's list. Orlando is not a watchable team to me. I don't get that part of it. You know what's a weird one? I know this is super weird. I have 2 weird teams I'm gonna list to you for League Pass value. Right, one is the Wizards. I know that sounds crazy, but between Alex Sarr, between Cam Whitmore, the veterans they got there, like the Chris Middleton and let me get the roster up because I know they have a lot of names of very interesting players. And I'll list to you those players so you can understand why they actually are relevant to me. Like Bub Carrington, CJ McCollum is on this team. Again, Alex Sarr is my number one. Like this, I'm telling you, this guy is going to be special. Cam Whitmore, Corey Kispert is on this team. Yeah, I'm going to watch the Wizards. They intrigue me. And then the other team is the Charlotte Hornets, who we mentioned a moment ago. What's the guy's name? Miller. They got
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller. They got Ball again. So those are 2 teams that could be awful, but I might be intrigued. I might sit down and watch those teams. So, but yeah, I think that the Warriors are easily number one. Like I don't. I'm a little surprised by this vote that they got.
I like watching the Pistons as well because they give you that old school feel.
Yes. And they've got the Pistons are going to be good this year, man. We both locked that down for the over, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We both feel good about that. Best home court advantage. I'm a little surprised. I know because Utah sucks, but Utah always has anything with elevation. Like Utah, they're playing at near 5,000. Denver, they're playing at 5,000. A mile in elevation. Like that stuff matters, dude. OKC makes sense. Is there anything here that's missing? Because Denver has and OKC are tied for number one. The Knicks at Madison Square Garden got 7% of the vote for third. Boston and Cleveland's a weird one. They also get votes. I'm a little disappointed that the Warriors, who once upon a time were on this list because of Oracle, no longer getting votes. Any thoughts from your end? I feel like a Golden One is another place that can provide great home court advantage.
Yeah, that's what speaking of OKC, that's what Jalen Williams said. He was like the Sacramento fans, he was like, especially that Beam year team or whatever, the first one.
Yeah.
Sacramento got really good fans, but when I'm looking at New York, I'm like, how New York? New York's a place where, superstars go to score 50. That don't make sense. Like you'll see that, other than Steph coming to Sacramento during that time, but Steph does that to everybody. But No, I think they're definitely adding in, like you said, the atmosphere as far as the levels of, like Denver. Nobody likes going to Denver. Nobody likes going to Utah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have gave New York a single vote.
MSG. Have you ever been to a game there?
I have not. I have not. I'm
I
sure. I'm sure
recommend
it's crazy though. It looks amazing. The atmosphere
it.
looks
Feels
dope.
special, dude. But my entire 3 hours there, I was just in awe. It's hard to explain. It almost like you feel the ghosts of that place. It's a trip. And it's really old building that throws
Right.
people off. I think MSG is not new, but I also love New York City. So, um, I want to finish up the survey with a few that gives Stephen Curry some love. Any thoughts there? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I can't think of nothing to go with that.
I'm trying to think if
Is
there's
it?
any other shooters that
Yeah.
like I can see Reed Shepard 5 years from now maybe being in this if he ever plays.
Doug McDermott. There we go.
Doug McDermott. Which player is the fastest with the ball? Former Sacramento King De'Aaron Fox getting the most votes, 53%. John Morant second with 33%. Tyrese Maxey third with 7%. Jaden Ivey, who's coming back after that injury last year, and Amon Thompson also getting votes. It's still
This
crazy
one,
to me that he's not a Sacramento King anymore.
this one, not even a joke. But I don't think he gets enough credit of how fast he is with the ball.
Yeah.
Is Malik Monk. Malik Monk,
Oh,
he flies with the ball.
good point.
And he could, be turnover prone at times or whatever. But when I seen him and De'Aaron playing on the same court together and how fast they both get up and down the court, Malik is definitely one of the fastest players in the league with the ball.
Agreed. Totally agree with you. Yeah. Steph also won overwhelmingly the vote for which player is the best at moving without the ball.
Yeah.
Stephen Curry got 90% of the vote. Desmond Bain, that's a weird one. Michael Porter Jr. and Duncan Robinson also got a vote.
It should have
Does
been all
that
Steph. It should have
is
been all
that
Steph.
yeah, is that weird to you? Like three GMs voted for players not named Stephen Curry. I've never thought of any of these players as off the ball elite individuals like
They
Desmond
had
Bain.
they had to all be in the same room at the same time, and they knew that everybody else voted for Steph. So it's like, I'm gonna be different.
I guess
That's the only way. But because the first person you're gonna think about is Steph.
that is really weird, man. Derek Carter in the chat saying that talking on people's money is sleazy. Who are you referring to? Have we talked about anyone's money recently?
I don't remember that.
Derek Carter, elaborate, please. I have no clue what you're talking about. And which player is the best passer? Nikola Jokic got the number one vote there with 80%. Luka Doncic second with 10% of the vote. Trae Young third. That was the first mention of Trae Young in this survey, and then James Harden getting a vote as well. Best leader. Not gonna lie, I was a little surprised that Steph won this. Not because I don't think he's a great leader. I just didn't know that that was a
Didn't get the
reputation
credit.
of his. But he
Right.
got 43% of the vote to easily win this category. Jalen Brunson second at 13%. Excuse me. Nikola Jokic third at 10%. Tied for fourth, Giannis Antetokounmpo, SGA, and LeBron James, who we haven't seen much either in this survey this year, getting 7% of the vote as well. Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, and Fred VanVleet also getting a single vote. But yeah, Steph with 43%. Anyone missing from this? Any other amazing leaders in the NBA you could think of?
None that come to mind that shouldn't be on the list or whatever. Maybe, maybe Chris Paul. Is he not on this list?
Yeah, Chris Paul will be going too, right?
Yeah. But it looks like these are more so like main guys, the guys that's, and he kind of drifted in the background. But I would consider him still one of the best leaders in the NBA.
Good point. Yeah. And then and there's one more I wanted to touch on. We could skip ahead to these. I guess this one's interesting. Best basketball IQ. Jokic getting 80% of the vote. LeBron James 17%. Chris Paul 3%. Which begs the question to me: A, what does Stephen Curry not have a high basketball IQ? What about Draymond Green? I'm a little surprised those guys didn't get a mention. And shouldn't LeBron be higher than 17%? I don't know. This one's a little weird to me. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, no, so I agree with you. Like, people usually say LeBron is one of the smartest people to ever play the game. But, Joker, I think this is it's just his league right now. So I think, you know, GMs and people are just, going with the flow. And, he's definitely a brilliant basketball player or whatever. The things he can do or whatever, it supports that. But
Yeah.
at the same time or whatever, like, no, I don't think LeBron got dumber over the years.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so
Like,
LeBron would still have to be one.
that is really, really weird to me. Yeah. And again, the Draymond Green, say what you will about his temper, but that has nothing to do with his acumen. He has one
Yeah,
of the
he's brilliant.
highest IQs in
Yeah.
basketball. But I mean, LeBron James. I mean, look, Jokic is a great player, but that's weird. That is a weird one.
Yeah.
Which player would you want taking a shot with the game on the line? Steph overwhelmingly winning this one with 47% of the vote. Kevin Durant second with 17%. Tyrese Halliburton 13%. Luka Doncic 10%. SGA 7%. Jalen Brunson and Jokic also getting a single vote. Anybody missing here? Are you surprised that LeBron James didn't get a single vote?
I am. I'm surprised he didn't get a vote.
Yeah.
Did he have to be number one? No, but to get a vote, like, I think he's still one of the most clutch players in the game. I'm also surprised there's no De'Aaron Fox, who is a guy that won clutch player. I also think
You're
this is a
right.
spot
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan could have been in.
Good
DeRozan is a
point.
guy who he had a game winner last year with the Kings or whatever, or sent it to overtime or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. I'm a little surprised at this list.
I am too. That's a weird one. And this one we'll finish with this vote. And I thought this was very interesting because it highlights what the GMs think are the biggest problems in the NBA. And I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. And these are and we'll finish again. We'll finish here. The GMs were asked what rule, whether it regards play, the schedule, the draft / lottery, the playoff format, roster construction, etc., most needs to change. And number one was roster construction, and more specifically, apron rules being too harsh, adding a cap discount for your own drafted players. That's a rule I've been advocating for years. Allowing trading partial salaries. That's a fascinating concept. I think they do that in other sports. And making all minimum contracts the same. That was number one at 26%. And I agree. I agree with all this. I do think the apron rules are too harsh.
Yeah.
I don't understand why teams are not benefiting from drafting well, which is what a cap discount for your own drafted players would do. It would reward you for keeping your players, thus having some continuity with certain communities and cultures and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And make all minimum contracts the same, meaning like a veteran with 10 plus years should be making the same as a veteran, let's say, who's played 5 years.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense. What do you think about that?
No, I'm not mad at any of those suggestions. Like, I feel like those suggestions all kind of cater towards helping the game.
Yeah.
And that's all any of us want, is to see the best possible
sir.
product out there. So
Yes, sir.
no, I have no arguments with those.
A couple people in the chat, by the way, mentioning that Draymond Green looks fat. I don't think he even played tonight. I don't think he's out of shape, and I don't know. Maybe he is. He's also getting older. Real quickly, in this, the other votes get from GMs regarding rule changes they'd like, a draft schedule, meaning instead of having it being 2 days with the round one on one day, round two on another day, they want it all just on one day, and maybe more importantly, have the draft after free agency. And I like it. Game flow. Do you have any thoughts on that one, or even the draft schedule? Because game flow refers to no live ball timeouts, which would be fascinating. Hockey style substitutions, faster review. I'm 1,000% advocating for. But any thoughts there?
Yeah, the hockey sub is strange. 'Cause in hockey, don't they just get up and get in or whatever?
Yes, yeah. There's no stopping your play. Exactly. It's like it's just as the game's going, you just sub in and out, and you just can't have both lines in there together. That's the hard rule.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I roll with that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one either. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Actually, number 3 is not something I'm a big fan of. What about playoff format? Number 4, the GMs, 11% of them want like they want 1 through 16 as the seeds, meaning get rid of the conferences, just have the playoffs be 1 through 30 of the entire NBA, and then make 1 through 16 get in and have 16 play 1. Or they're even adding, make the top seeds choose your opponents, which would be kind of interesting. I don't know if I like the scrapping of the conferences. What are your thoughts on that? Any?
No, I don't like it at all. It sounds good in theory, but then when you think about like the travel and stuff like that or whatever, like I don't want to see in the first round the Knicks playing the Nuggets in the first round because of because of rankings. So,
That would be weird.
Nah.
What would you think about a team not being able to draft in the top 6 in 3 straight years? Meaning, if you're a bad team year after year after year, the third year you're not getting a top 6 pick. It's going to be 7 or lower. That's a weird one. Your thoughts?
I wouldn't be mad at it. Like, I mean, put some pressure on them to do better.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I wouldn't be mad at it. That'd be interesting. It'd be weird. It'd be unfair to an extent, but hey, life is not fair.
No, it's not, man. No, it is not. And then the schedule getting a mention here: fewer back-to-backs, no home road back-to-backs. I'm still puzzled that the NBA has not adopted what was going on in the COVID year, where they basically turned the back-to-backs into kind of like baseball series, where a team, if there's going to be a back-to-back, let's say it's the Warriors and Kings, for example, they would stay in that one city, and they're doing this sometimes, but it's not consistent.
Not enough.
But all the back-to-backs would just be between 2 teams in the same city, so there's no competitive advantage. There's no extra travel. I'm a little surprised they're not doing that, but that's just me. I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
Is that it? Are we done?
I think so. That's it. GMs.
All right.
Thank you for the content, GMs.
That's a hell of a show, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Are you gonna get in trouble? Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'm probably is whatever, but they're asleep now, and I'm gonna join. So
that's the key, dude. If they're asleep, you can get away with this. All right.
Yeah.
Good strategy. Good strategy. What do you have coming up for the YouTube channel, Bleav In Kings? Name it. Promote away what you got coming. Any stories you got published in the near future?
Yeah, no, working on a lot of stuff, working on setting up some interviews for articles with the Sacramento Observer and with Bleav In Kings. I will be doing a show post game tomorrow. May do a little bonus something before the game, but just depending on what's happening throughout the day. But you can expect to see me tomorrow, and like we said earlier, follow me at Mark Haynes NBA on all social media platforms, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Closer Sports. And that's all I got.
And I think we did this before. If you go to YouTube and just search Closer Sports, 2 words, your channel will come right up. I think it's the very first one that comes up. So that's the best way to find it. Literally just do a search in YouTube, Closers Sports, and you're going to be live tomorrow night. Bleav In Kings. It's Kings and Clippers, right?
Kings and Clippers.
And then the Warriors play the Clippers Friday, and that's going to be the last preseason game for the Golden State Warriors, who came away victorious tonight to improve to 3-1 in the preseason. A few real quick chats before we go. Julian Bashir writing that from hours ago saying, GP2 missed an easy under the rim layup. I remember that. GP2 did not have a good game, at least from what I saw in that first half. He finished the night, played 17 minutes, 12 seconds. See, GP2 does this, man. The box score with him rarely represents like what you see. The eye test and the box score are night and day typically with GP2 because the box score shows he was 5 of 8 from the field. He shot 50% from 3, 11 points, 3 rebounds, and just 1 turnover. He was a -2 in that rating, but still. But in reality, like did he have a turnover? Because I'm pretty sure I saw one. Yeah, he had 1 turnover, and I remember seeing that, and he just got cherry picked. I don't know, man. The GP2 minutes are a little slight point of consternation for me. I don't mind it as long as it's limited, but Steve Kerr loves giving that guy like 20 minutes sometimes. The Creed 2010 in the chat writing that what are the odds of Will Richard taking some of Pajemski's minutes? 1,000 to 1, million to 1. I don't expect it. I mean, it was cool that Will Richard started tonight, but Pajemski is clearly Steve Kerr's guy. Julian Bashir and Mark, jump in on any of these, please, if you want to. Julian Bashir writing, can Steve Kerr please for the last effing game start Steph, Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green, and Al Horford? Be a damn coach. I would love that lineup. That to me is
Who's
your
the
ideal
starters?
starting lineup. What's up?
Who's the starters right now?
Well, right now it would be we don't know what the official starting lineup's going to be yet, but what's likely going to be the starting lineup is what we saw the first preseason game, which was Steph, Pajemski, Butler, Moses Moody, and Draymond Green. Super small. You start with Dre at the small ball 5 position, and then according to Steve Kerr, he doesn't leave Dre alone at the center position for long. But I'm not a fan of that. But that's likely what's going to happen. No official decisions made. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna definitely switch over to what I can't see the name. What our listener just said. It's gonna be that line. I couldn't see his name. I'm over here going blind.
Come up 25 real quick asked, do you think Pajemski looks for Kuminga? It appears to me that he doesn't like passing to him. Pajemski and Kuminga, I could tell you this like it's fact. That's how much I know and how certain I am of this take. They love each other. They are close friends off the court. Pajemski sees Jonathan Kuminga as his basketball partner for the next 10, 15 years. There is love between those two. I hope I answered that clearly enough and that made sense. Really quick before we go, Byron Knox, I apologize. Golden Daze are saying Will Richard is going to be good if Kerr gives him playing time. Where have we heard that before? And Chardal turns 29 in 4 days. Chardal is one of our you got to be Golden Dazers to know Chardal. I don't know if you know who he is, Mark, but on especially on nights where I'm solo, he will usually be the last guest of the evening. He adds spice to life. That's the best way I can describe Chardal. Happy early birthday, brother. Happy
early birthday. Happy early birthday.
Yeah. And I think we're done now. Anything else? Anything you want to add before I hit the end button for the night?
Nah. All I got is 2 words for everybody. Good night.